Here to ask my husband to block his female friend who warned him not to marry me. I, 26 female, want my husband, 27 male, to immediately block one of his friends, Kyla, 27 female. He thinks that I'm overreacting and wants opinions from some cool-headed people on if I'm just acting crazy or this is something that would cross the line for you. My husband has a group of 8 friends that he is close with since his college days. Kyla is one of his friends. When my husband and I started dating, he introduced me to all of them, and everyone was very friendly. I used to hang out with them frequently. I am an introvert, and so is my husband. I would always ask him to spend time alone, as being in social settings just saps all of my energy away. His friends, and especially Kyla, always made it a point to tell me how he hangs out with them less after he started dating me. Kyla also has a weird energy around me. If it was with my husband, she would be the most friendliest with me. However, as soon as he walked away, she acted like I did not exist. My husband hates to be touched by others. We are both ND, neurodivergent, but Kyla always teases him by trying to hug him, mess his hair, etc. I never felt that she was flirting with him, but just teasing him to make him annoyed. Overall, she just feels like a person who has a severe social boundary issue. We got married 2 years ago, and things have been great between us. Last week, we had our 2nd marriage anniversary and invited a bunch of people. His friends stayed back after all the guests left, and we were all drinking and chatting. One of his friends, Jen, became a bit tipsy and started complimenting me on how beautiful our house is, how I care for my husband, and how he has changed for the better since marriage. Everyone was laughing at my husband, at how much of a slob he was when he is single. Jen then pointed at Kyla and said, "You better pay up, cause you had a bet that their marriage would not even last 2 years. Everyone became silent, and they started changing the topic. I also didn't want to spoil the mood, and I let it go, but it stuck in my head. After everyone left, I asked my husband what Jen was talking about. He also had noticed that Jen was saying that, and was ready with a full explanation. He told me the story of what happened when we got engaged. When he proposed to me, he had not told his friends that he was going to do that. We went on a trip to Puerto Rico, and he surprised me there. We put our engagement pictures on Instagram while we were on the trip, and it was a big surprise to everyone, as we were only dating for 1 year. When he came back and met all his friends, everyone congratulated him. However, Kyla started ranting about how he was a fool to propose so quickly, and she felt that I was not the right girl for him. It's a bit weird, Kyla. I mean, I just want to go back. How old are these people again? They're 26 and 27. I feel like that's fair. I think, this is definitely a Kyla issue. What is going on? However, Kyla started ranting about how he was a fool to propose so quickly, and she felt that I was not the right girl for him. Seems like she said some unkind things about me, implying that I was a gold digger. My husband's family is wealthy, but so is mine. She had said that she bet we would break up within 2 years if we got married. That is why Jen was taunting her about how happy my husband was with me. Kyla, terrible person. What's wrong with you? How was this kept under wraps? How did this not come back to OP at all during all of this? That's what I want to know. How was this a secret? I would question the friend group for that one. That's very weird to me. I was very furious at this point, as I feel this is something that he should have told me. Oh wow, crazy that. I asked him to tell me truthfully if he had ever dated Kyla or had any history with her, as he's always told me that he never dated anyone from his friend group. He said that he has, of course, not dated or hooked up with Kyla. However, Kyla had asked him out a few times when they were in college, and he always politely declined. I asked why he said no to her, and he said he just doesn't have any romantic feelings for her. I can see that because my husband does have a type based on me or the other people that he has dated in the past, and Kyla is the opposite of that. I'm just mad at her for saying bad things about me, especially after knowing that we were already engaged and betting against my marriage. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I've never actually, I have probably heard it in passing, but never personally seen someone bet against a marriage. That is, I wake up every day filled with hatred. I wake up renewed with the hatred in my heart, betting against a marriage. I told my husband that he needs to minimize contact with Kyla, and she's not invited to parties at our house anymore. He feels that I'm being too harsh for something that she said almost 3 years ago. He also pointed out that she has been very supportive to the both of us and has also helped a lot during our wedding arrangements. He feels that she's just blunt and forthright when she speaks, but does not mean those things. How can you not mean those things? Yeah, she said it in jest. It was simply just a joke. Don't worry about her. Please let me stay friends with her. I'm not cheating on you. He told me to take some time and calm down, and we would revisit this topic in a week. He's worried this will completely change the dynamics within his friend group. Am I the asshole for wanting him to block her and stop inviting her to her house? Do you think that I'm overreacting? I think betting against our marriage and bad-mouthing me behind my back seems like a huge betrayal. I'm also mad at my husband that he kept this fact from me, and also never told me that Kyla had asked him out during college days. Am I just being crazy and reactive? How would you react in this situation? I don't want to distance my husband from his friends, but I also didn't want to see that biatch Kyla's face again. I don't blame you. That's crazy. Stay away from Kyla. Who does she think she is? What has gang got to say about this one? You don't bet on a relationship ending unless you really hate someone. Chill out. Common post-college. My husband's friends did not like me so much because I'm non-neurodivergent and they didn't get me. They all eventually fell away. See, I think a common thread with behaviors like this is that if you bet on a relationship like that, they're gonna just not stay friends with you, I guess, because why would you stay friends with someone that bets on your relationship? Info. How has Kyla acted since the wedding? Has her behavior changed? You describe a bad behavior in the past tense, so one might believe that she's not doing those things anymore. Does she still exhibit boundary issues with your husband? OP replies, yes, her behavior with my husband has not changed at all after marriage. However, she is the same with all her other friends too. With me, she is fake nice, where she acts like we are best friends in front of my husband, and barely talks to me when he is not around. Or what did he think when you told him that she's totally different when he leaves? This is what I'm very curious to learn. OP says, he just says that she doesn't know you that well, just ignore her. She's never said anything negative to my face. However, as a girl, you just know when someone doesn't like you. It's hard to explain to him that it's your feelings and not based on anything that she has specifically said or done. OK Perception says, not the asshole. I probably wouldn't be that bothered if someone, at the time of my engagement, didn't think that it would last. It's not uncommon for someone to think that and be pleasantly surprised when the marriage works out. What would bother me is that she clearly has feelings for you, for your husband, and rather than keeping them to herself, because he's married and not interested, she's expressing her feelings by flirting with your husband and icing you out when he's not around. Your husband should have put a stop to that nonsense a long time ago. However, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt by thinking maybe he's clueless and doesn't notice, plus she's only been cold with you when he's not around. However, once you pointed out her behavior to him and explained that it was making you uncomfortable, he should have stood up for you. That means that he should have had a discussion with her in which he states, I've noticed you're touching me, etc., and it makes me uncomfortable. Also, you're only friendly with my wife when I'm around. I'd like these behaviors to stop. If they don't stop, I won't hang out with you anymore. Note that he needs to state that he has noticed these things, and he would like it to stop. He shouldn't try to put the blame on you by saying, my wife doesn't like ... He needs to man up and stand up for you, his wife. And if she doesn't comply, then he should follow through and cut her out of his life. My husband has a former co-worker who seemed to me to be stalking him on social media. He immediately said that he would block her. I told him that he didn't need to, as it wasn't a big deal. We never see her in person anyway. But he did block her anyway, as he said that he didn't want me to ever feel uncomfortable, and that my feelings are more important to him than the feelings of a former co-worker. This is what your husband should be telling you, that he cares more about your happiness than the happiness of another woman who is secretly hoping this marriage will fail because she is in love with him. Please show your husband the responses here. In addition, whatever Kyla has said was a big enough scene that multiple people from the friend group remembered it 3 years later. And Hubs had an explanation ready? Even if Hubs is being totally truthful about the relationship, Kyla made a stink that lingered. Not the asshole. And now, on to the updates. So I'd posted almost 6 months ago regarding my husband's friend Kyla betting that our marriage would not have lasted for more than 2 years. I was upset and had asked my husband to stop talking to her because she disrespected our marriage. Since then, Kyla has pulled some really pathetic shit to stir up issues between my husband and I. After I wrote the post, my husband was trying to convince me that Kyla was just joking when she made those comments, and it happened so long ago. Don't do that. If you're trying to sink a marriage, do exactly what he's doing. Kyla messaged me the next day apologizing to me for her comments and also not making more effort to connect with me. I accepted her apology and started warming up to her. She started inviting me for brunches and girls' nights out with them, and I felt included in their friend group. One day during brunch, I brought up why Kyla really thought our marriage would not work out. Kyla told me that my husband broke up with his long-term ex-girlfriend Joanna 2 months before he started dating me. I knew that part, but Kyla told me that my husband was really heartbroken after their breakup and swore to her that he would stay away from dating anyone. When he met me, my mum set us up on a blind date. She was surprised how quickly we hit it off. Kyla thought that I was his rebound relationship, but when he proposed to me within a year, she was worried that he was making a very rash decision. My husband's family is rich, and she thought that it was unwise for him to marry so quickly without knowing me well. She didn't know enough about me, and that my family is also very well off. That's why she was concerned that I was taking advantage of his vulnerable state. She apologized to me and said that it was wrong for her to assume that, and over the years, she's seen how happy we are together. I appreciated her honesty, and Kyla and I became good friends since then and started hanging out more frequently. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It's kind of just stinky. A bit of a stinky vibe to this, that you became good friends so quickly. She's saying that he's an idiot and you're a gold digger, and then you just forgive that. Why? What's going on? Around 2 months ago, my husband went for a conference to Seattle for 3 nights, and after he came back, I got a "Hey girly" message on Instagram from Joanna, his ex. She told me that my husband contacted her a few months ago, and they met in Seattle during the conference, and she could give me more proof if I wanted. I went through my husband's Instagram, but he seems to have blocked her. I made a mistake of mentioning it to Kyla, as she's the only person that's pretty honest to me about Joanna, and she went in detective mode to help me. She was still friends with Joanna on Instagram, as they all went to college together, and opened her profile. She went to the person that wants to break the marriage to get info about potentially marriage-breaking things, not thinking that this could be potentially something that Kyla herself has set up. I mean, to me, this seems obvious in hindsight, but I can understand in the moment. Yeah. The message sent to me was from a different profile with no followers. We checked her photos, and we saw that she attended the same conference as my husband did in Seattle. Kyla suggested that I should ask Joanna for more proof, and also ask my husband about the same, before assuming the worst. I asked my husband if he met Joanna, and he said yes. He told me that he just met her in the expo hall and chatted with her for a few minutes. I asked him why didn't he mention it to me, and he told me that it was just a quick conversation, and he didn't think too much of it. He asked me how I knew it, and I told him that Kyla mentioned that she saw her pictures at the conference, and I thought that he might have seen her. Yeah, Kyla, crazy, huh? I messaged Joanna again to share more proof. She told me that they might have been chatting for the past 2 months and planned to attend the conference together. She shared a log of their messages where my husband was actively flirting with her. The screenshots did look legit, but I didn't see any of those messages in my husband's Instagram profile. I talked to Kyla about it, as I didn't know what to believe. I messaged Joanna to tell us what happened between them, and she told me that he invited her to the room at nights, and they hooked up, but she doesn't have any photos, as he insisted they not take any pictures together. I immediately realized it was fake, and messaged Joanna to F off. She kept on insisting that they were telling the truth, and she spent the nights with my husband in his room on all 3 nights. I told her that my husband and I were playing video games, Sea of Thieves, for almost 2 to 3 hours each night after his dinner, as that is what we do to catch up when he is away. Unless Joanna was sitting behind him watching us play until he fell asleep, she was full of shit. Yeah, get him. Get him, OP. I also told my husband about the whole incident, and he told me that I should have come to him sooner. He told me that he has gone no contact with Joanna ever since they broke up, and he just ran into her at the conference. He told me that I could check his phone and everything to verify that he has blocked her everywhere, and I told him that I don't need to. And Joanna might have run into him and just decided to screw up his life by making stuff up. When all the friends that met that weekend, my husband and I told everyone about how Joanna sent messages to me and faked everything. Kyla was also telling me what happened, as she had told her about it. Kyla accidentally let it slip out that it's lucky that we are nerds and played video games at night before sleeping. Else, props go to Joanna for making up convincing story. Congratulations, Joanna. You almost broke this relationship up. That was such a good story. You deserve an award for that one, mate. I never told Kyla about the video game stuff. I just told her that Joanna is full of shit, and I blocked her. It took me until I came home to connect the dots. I told my husband about it, and he confronted Kyla. She denied it and told him that I told her about the video game stuff on a phone call, but I don't remember doing it. We have since decided to keep our distance from Kyla. Kyla has called me multiple times to meet up, but I just make up reasons that I'm busy. I don't know why she did it, but at this point, I'm not interested in it, and we've decided to just see her on social occasions and avoid hanging out with her as much as possible. Why have you not just completely cut her out of your life? I can't understand these people. I feel stupid that she played me for a fool again. She played you for a fool again, OP. And I should not have gone to her when Joanna started messaging me. In hindsight, it seems suspicious that Kyla started telling me about Joanna, and at the same time, Joanna claimed to have an affair with my husband. I don't know what her intentions are, but I'm mad enough that I'll avoid her as much as possible. I wish I had some real proof that she was the one messaging me so that I could expose her. I also feel bad for suspecting my husband, but I'm glad my husband and I are on the same page now. In the comments, Edlo says, does your husband also believe that Kyla made up a fake Instagram account pretending to be Joanna? Because that's pretty psycho behavior. OP replies, yes. He believes me because I told him that I never told Kyla why I thought the account was fake. It's possible that she guessed it if I ever mentioned to her that we play video games at night, but seems suspicious that she would guess that that was exactly the reason why I realized the account was fake. Why didn't you try to message her real Instagram since you knew the one that she used to message you wasn't her main? Why not message her main accounts? That would have cleared it up pretty quickly, I would think. OP says her Instagram was private. I didn't want to follow her as it would have looked real bad for me to add her when my husband has blocked her. The only way that I could see her Instagram was when Kyla showed it to me on her phone. I believe this story. It's real to me. Did she handle this the correct way? Because I always wonder, sometimes it's not the best, I agree that it's not the best move to go directly to the partner if you suspect them of cheating. It's good to get other information before the partner that could be cheating, covers this up. I'm going to ask in a poll, did she handle this the correct way? Just joined. What is this story about? Whoa, lucky for you, someone asked them to summarize the story. Kyla told my husband about our marriage would not last for more than 2 years. I came to know about it on our second anniversary. Kyla told me that she thought that because she thought that I was a rebound and my husband was making rash decision, she allegedly made up fake account to convince me my husband cheated with his ex on a work trip. I believe Kyla did it, but don't have any definite proof. I hope that catches you up to speed. These people are adults, right? Chronologically, yes. Emotionally, not even close. Exactly. An amen. An amen. Next story, guys. Next story. This is the one that you guys all wanted last week. I don't know why you wanted it. Apparently, I'm going to have a reaction to this, but I don't think so. I think 1, 2... Oh, Jesus Christ. 3... No! Oh, I'm speedrunning this post. This is too many updates. 5... What's wrong with you people? Posted by user throwrapickyeater, titled, "My husband cannot accept that I don't like mustard. Things came to a head yesterday." I'm just going to read the Best of Redditor Updates post. Screw you guys, I'm reading this one. "We've been married for 2 years, dating for 5. We are both 34. Sorry, the chat's really distracting me. I'm a woman, he's a man, if it matters. I'm not a picky eater. In fact, I'm quite adventurous, and every time I've traveled, I've always made it a point to try dishes with unusual and uncommon ingredients just to say that I've tried them. There are a few foods that I won't eat. There are very few foods that I won't eat. One of them is mustard, the condiment. I just don't like it. I just don't. The taste is very strong and overpowering, and it's an unpleasant taste. I've tried yellow, stone ground, honey, artisan, brown, spicy, you name it. I've tried them all, and I just don't like it. My husband, for some reason, never understood this. He loves mustard, especially honey mustard. He puts it on all of his sandwiches, dips his fries in it, dips his whatever in it. You know, don't let your imagination go too wild with that one, guys. And that's probably why she doesn't like it. And every time he tries to force me to try it, he'll insist that I'll like it this time. I'm a grown-ass woman. I know what I don't like, and I don't like mustard. So I'll say no, and it'll devolve into a mini argument where he will call me picky. Well, last night we were on the road home from a weekend trip that we took together, and he stopped at a gas station to get us a quick bite. He got a hot dog slathered in mustard. I got one, but decided to keep it plain. I don't really love hot dogs to begin with, but I will eat them. While we waited in line, he asked me what I got on mine, and I told him nothing. He actually got furious and grabbed it from me, and he... Psycho! He marched over to the condiment station and began putting mustard on my hot dog, telling me to grow up and stop being picky. I just walked out and sat in the car. I didn't even want the damn hot dog anymore. My appetite was gone. Gonzo, done. He came back and began screaming at me for embarrassing him even further. The word divorce was said for the first time ever. I secretly recorded his screaming because I was genuinely afraid that I would die. He was driving erratically, swerving and speeding. I'm in a hotel tonight, he ignored me all day at work, and then the calls started around when he realized that I wasn't coming home. Non-stop voicemails and texts. He sent me a screenshot of a Google search for local divorce lawyers. Is this meth? Is this guy on meth? There's 7 updates here. Is he on meth? Like, seriously. I haven't eaten all day, and I've been sobbing in this damn hotel room. I don't want to get divorced, and I wish I just ate the effing mustard. It's like The Notebook. What do you want? What do you want? Just tell me what you want. Just eat the mustard. Why won't you just eat the mustard? Why won't you just eat the mustard? I can't. Someone, please, anyone, give me an explanation. Am I in danger? Why would he react this way to a preference of mine? I'm completely broken right now. Commenter, there's got to be a bit more going on here than mustard. Things just don't escalate from mini arguments to full screaming rages and divorce lawyers. But it's pretty simple. You said no, he does not respect your no, he does not respect your right to say no. He does not respect your right to make your own choices about food. Does this lack of respect carry into things other than your no mustard? OP says, yes, it'll usually take him at least 3 times to acknowledge when I say no. Well, that's a very bad sign. That's a not good sign. Is he on meth? Honestly, that would be better, but nah, he's just a huge asshole. Godspeed on this dumpster fire. Thank you. That's really reassuring. This is worse than meth. Oh, shit. I'll never forget the mustard, said Tom saucily. Hey, yo, there's not drugs involved. Well, there should be. It's never fun without drugs involved. I knew someone who had an embarrassing fit and accused people of embarrassing them. That made as much sense as a duck with wheels. I think a duck with wheels would be pretty cute though, personally. Update, post 1, November 2nd, 2022. Title, I can't respond since my post got deleted, sorry. Some answers, I guess, to questions I saw. Regarding when I said no to sex, he respected if I said no to having sex, but he would ask for blowjobs over and over. I used to give in at first until I started dreading doing it. He tried buying all of this stuff to make me like it, to make it easier, or whatever. I used to like blowjobs, but I don't like giving them to him. But he'll ask over and over. I started responding with no. I said no. Are you going to force me to do it? And he'd get squeamish and offended that I'd implied that he would assault me or take advantage of me. If I have a support system, no. I've always been a very small circle kind of person, and I lost touch with casual college friends. My friends are his. It makes me feel like a loser, but I don't really have friends of my own. My parents are dead, my dad died when I was a teen, and my mum passed away recently of heart failure. I have no siblings. I'm financially capable of living on my own, and I could pay for a divorce. I just really didn't want things to be this way. The mustard thing was always just an annoyance to me. I didn't consider it a deal breaker, but obviously it is for him. We have no kids and no equity. Our finances are separate, save for one joint account that we equally contribute to for bills. We were looking at buying a house. I'm safe, I'm at work, and I'm staying in the hotel until further notice. He has continued to text. One message said that he loves me and doesn't want to lose me, but I've forced his hand by refusing to communicate or come home. I haven't answered. I don't know what to say. I forced myself to eat my favorite takeout late last night, but it tasted like cardboard. I stayed up late, compiling a list of every time he has shown worrying behavior. I guess the mustard is just the tip of the iceberg. That's not good. That's really concerning. All of this it sounds like he's gonna murder her. OP, an addendum, I suppose. I do very much love him, and he's been my best friend for years now. I really do, I guess plan to spend my life with him. I'm not afraid of being alone, but I don't want to be lonely. I wish my mum was here. That hurts. That really hurts to read. I'm sorry, OP. I don't really want to know what else happens in this episode now. This has taken such a dark turn. Update 2. Thank you all for being so kind. A quick ramble before bed. Sincerely, thank you all for your kind words, as well as sending me links to resources. He's reverted back and has told me that he never wants to see me again, so I suppose that gives me time to read that book that someone gave on relationship advice, suggesting to me. I forgot the name. I will admit that while I was at work and thinking of the lonely room waiting me after 5, I considered just going home. But I knew what awaited me. I'm too drained to muster up the kind of apology that he would be expecting in order for things to go back to normal. I honestly fear that our normal is detrimental to me. I also don't want to apologize. I don't think I did anything wrong, and you all helped validate that. I always felt that I was the one disturbing the peace. He would get so upset over things that were little to no effort for me to just do or go along with because I loved him. And somewhere along the way, I think I lost myself. I never liked mustard, I never liked golf, or camping, or red wine, but he loves all of these, and he wanted me to love them too. He said he was introducing me to his hobbies so that we would have shared interests as a couple, but I've realized that out of all the things that I used to like, he has either refused to try or ignored my interest. Our shared interests are just his. God. How do I feel like my own person again? My world broke not 2 days ago, and now I'm drunk at a hotel bar switching between Reddit and researching divorce lawyers. I still don't want to divorce. It's so permanent. I never pictured myself as a divorcee. I used to think that every choice I made deliberately. It used to be a point of pride for me, but he's making this choice for me, and it hurts. I don't know, I feel like you just, as hard as it is, you just leave that person in this relationship, don't you? You don't stay with them. Update post 3, November 7th, 2022, 5 days later. Title, I'm leaving him. First of all, I took a week off at the encouragement of my employer. I plan to spend it finding a therapist that specializes in domestic abuse and sexual assault, which I've come to realize that I am a victim of. I feel completely numb, and I'm also looking into a divorce lawyer. Secondly, he found the hotel where I was staying. I guess he followed me home from work. He was waiting in the lobby. God, my heart skipped a beat, and I realized that I did not miss him at all. I was afraid of making a scene. I need to unlearn that, so I sat with him in the lounge area and talked. I'll summarize it. So we don't have a repeat of that one post, if you guys were there for it and you remember, where it was the soccer coach. Is this going to be a YouTube violation if I continue reading this, guys? I want to know. I pointed out the security camera and said if he tried to hurt me, there would be footage and I would press charges without a second thought. He was completely shocked and said that he would never hurt me. I reminded him how I feared for my life in the car, and he ignored me. He asked why I wasn't coming home. I was completely blank-faced when I told him, because you're divorcing me. He said he didn't mean it and just was upset. I said, when normal people are upset, they express it in a healthy way. You threatened the end of our marriage. I'm taking you seriously. He got pissed and asked if I was saying that he wasn't normal. Honestly, I just wanted the conversation to be done, so I told him if that's really all he heard, then there was no point in talking anymore. I told him I was looking for a lawyer, and he should probably do the same if he hasn't found one. He lashed out and said, all this over one mistake? And I just stared at him. As I made to stand up, he grabbed my wrist hard, and I pointed at the camera again. This just made him angrier. He could never just handle slights to his ego. One mistake, it wasn't one mistake, it was a pattern of abuse over years. It was threatening me, intimidating me. I told him if he tried to contact me again beyond sending me his lawyer's details, I'd be calling the police. He let me go. I want to say that I was a badass and celebrated in my room. I collapsed into my bed and began sobbing. I was just so sick and angry and sad. He truly doesn't care about me. I've been crying on and off while calling local therapists. God, why is it so hard to find one? The amount of therapists that advertise but turn out to not be accepting new patients is unacceptable. I've looked into victims of DV and DA support groups as well. In the span of less than a month, my life is completely changed, and he isn't remorseful at all. He just thinks that it's all my fault. Yeah, like that marriage story on the last stream, where, God damn it, Cletus, we got 3 extra beds in this, and that's why I tortured you and didn't let you sleep after your 16-hour shifts, Cletus. You're sleeping on the couch and not the 3 extra beds. That's why this relationship didn't work out. God damn it. That's why you work 120 hours a week. Yeah, it's all your fault. OP says, I'll probably move. I saw my relationship advice post get reposted on Twitter. I'm terrified he'll see it and come for me. A lot of people are commenting on it, was saying that he would try to kill me, and I believe them. Yeah, I think he's trying to kill you as well. 19 days later from the original post. Update post 4. I have a divorce lawyer. That's all I'm comfortable with revealing on here for the time being. I will also mention that I've moved locations. I am safe and secure. My work has allowed me to go fully remote. My soon-to-be ex does not have my location, nor are there any trackers on my phone. I am in contact with people and organizations who are helping me. Earlier this week, the calls and texts really ramped up. I was advised to leave him unblocked and simply muted so his messages would come through. I read a few since I was curious. He wanted me at Thanksgiving dinner with his family. He begged me to stop being this way, and what was he supposed to tell his family? The truth, maybe? Tell them the truth. Tell them what you did, boy. Well, Thursday came and went. I had bought a couple of ready-made meals right before that, I had bought a couple of ready-made meals the night before, so that was my feast. I do want to take a break here to talk about my mum. Since it was only 3 of us every holiday, except the rare times friends would come over, my mum wouldn't make a turkey. She would buy a rotisserie chicken and dress it up with stuffing, etc. She made dishes that we loved rather than traditional Thanksgiving dishes. My favorite side dish of all time was French fries. My dad loved grilled asparagus with cheese, so we would have a rotisserie chicken with French fries, asparagus, and some garlic toast, my mum's favorite. The first time I had a real traditional Thanksgiving food was at a friend's house. I apparently told my mum loudly that I didn't like it and asked where the fries were. That's a bit of light in the darkness with this post. Oh, so this year, instead of my soon-to-be ex-husband's family Thanksgiving food, I bought asparagus, fries, garlic toast, and a couple slices of rotisserie chicken. It wasn't half as good as my mother's meal, but when I said I cried eating it, it felt like they were with me that night. I guess my absence at the dinner forced my soon-to-be ex to tell his family that I was separated from him. So Friday morning, I got a phone call from an unfamiliar number. I answered it, thinking maybe it was my lawyer's home phone or another person that I was in contact with. It was my mother-in-law. She begged me not to hang up on her, so I stayed on the line. She went on about how I was her daughter, she loved me, her son loved me, and how could I leave him over something so minor? He has gotten to her first, he's gotten into her head. This is not good, I wonder what he's told her. He only told his mum about the mustard. Yep, of course. And even then, it was a watered-down version that made me look like a neurotic control freak who needed everything my way. According to my mother-in-law, he just made a side cup of it for me and asked me to just try it in the car, and I started screaming that I would divorce him. She then started probing about which lawyer I was seeing and what I'd told them. She also reminded me that lying in court was a crime. My lawyer had warned me not to reveal anything we had discussed to his family. It took all of my willpower to not say anything. Instead, I hung up and muted her number too. She hasn't texted or tried to call again. Trust me, I would have loved to send the recording of her son screaming, saying he ought to smack me upside the head, calling me a stubborn witch, that he would divorce me, and that he would run the car off the effing road if I didn't start acting right. I wanted to scream into the phone that her precious son started this mess, and I was simply doing what he wanted. I've come to realize that you don't treat someone you love the way that he has acted. Normal people don't want to have sex with someone who has already said no. Normal people don't keep pushing and obsessing over food preferences. There is something seriously wrong with that man. He texted me last night, Friday, calling me a witch for making his mother cry. He also said that he would come find me, and it would take more than a locked door to keep him from getting me and taking me home. I forwarded those to the right people. I know this isn't a happy update, but things are moving along quite nicely. This is one of the stories of all time, is it not? This is a story that exists on the internet. Oh my. Oh lordy lord. This is, who's cutting onions? This is just, trauma in real time. 2.5 months later, we get to 2023. Wow. Everyone having a good night so far? How are we doing, gang? How's your night? Update 5. Title, I'm okay. I moved. I'll not say where, but I found a new home. My job let me stay on as permanently remote. I can't go into details about my divorce or other current legal proceedings, but I can say that I was granted a protective order due to something that happened back in December. Due to the nature of what happened, I was hospitalized for a time. Oh, good God, I wonder what happened. I wonder, he must have brought her a happy little present, like a pipe bomb. That's what I guess what made me realize I wanted to get the hell out. I traded my car, had my phone checked for tracking apps and devices, and changed my number. He cannot contact me or have anyone contact me on his behalf. I am now several hours and state lines away from him and his wretched family. I moved with only 2 suitcases and a duffel of my stuff. I cannot wait to furnish and decorate my new home the way that I've always wanted it. I'm in therapy, and I have a survivor support group that I see weekly. I'll be okay, and I feel like I can finally breathe. Update post 6, 9 months later. Hello, it's been a while. I've sort of forgotten about this account until I saw screenshots of my posts uploaded to Instagram. That's such a loaded It's like, shit. Some key points. I'm still going to therapy. Individual counseling and bi-weekly group meetings for victims of DV. I am absolutely not dating. I saw comments that they said that I hoped I found a fairy tale man. That's the last thing that I want or need. I strive for independence and self-love before I consider finding a new partner. It'll probably be years before I'm ready, and that's okay. I've discovered a love for cooking and trying new cuisines. I didn't realize how boring my ex's taste was until I escaped him. Slathering mustard on a $2 hot dog does not mean that you have superior taste buds. Sorry, I had to get a jab in somehow. Nothing new or dramatic has happened, and that's the way that I like it. What matters is, I'm alive and I'm happy. I didn't realize how little I'd made myself until I was given the space to be. That's all that I'm willing to give for my update for now. Peace and love. And on OP's picky eating, there's nothing wrong with being a picky eater, but I'm actually not. I'm finding I love a huge variety of flavors and ingredients. My soon-to-be ex was actually a very, very picky eater, I'm coming to realize. Maybe some projection on his part. Maybe some projection? I think that's a world of projection on his part. Is it truly a Marky stream without a little bit of trauma sprinkled into it? That's what made you realize? Oh shit. You're so far in the mud that getting hospitalized is what was like, oh shit, he's actually dangerous. Almost dying? Almost dying. I'm not victim blaming. This is why I always feel like I'm victim blaming, but I'm not. But almost dying is what made you realize that he's ready to kill you. Like, insane. Insane that that's what these people do to others. Almost dying was my breaking point. Oh my god. Glad to see you live again. Glad to see you in the live stream, Amanda Rice. Thank you. At least our trauma made us funny. True. But his family was weird about food, and he was dealing with that trauma like a deck of cards. I think we can kind of, spectate or speculate on anything that was happening with him and his family. But at the same time, he is the one that decided to be a psychopath in this instance. Post 7. Update post 7, July 3rd, 2024. Just under 8 months later. 1 year, 8 months from the OG post. Are we ready? It seems that I just can't escape my story. I was getting ready for the day when my TikTok feed showed a podcast reading and reacting to my story, and I'm here to reassure all of you that I'm okay, alive, safe, and free. Yes, let's go! I'm so happy for you, OP, that you're not being forced to eat mustard hot dogs in the hospital. Jesus. And with that stress and anxiety mostly cleared up, I feel like I can finally put to words my emotions. I was very small and skittish during the abuse, and for some time after leaving. I'm not sure how else to put it, but it felt like I had to be small. I was constantly regulating and accommodating. It was horrible. It was horrible, in retrospect, but no one prepared me for the emotional turmoil that ensues once you are safe and away. I felt like raging like nothing else. I would spend hours screaming and crying into my pillow, hating him, wondering how dare he treat me like that. As therapy and my support group has worked to rebuild my self-esteem, I've become more and more outraged on my own behalf. I read, "Why does he do that?" And while it helps provide the context to why he abused me, it still doesn't make me feel less angry, I guess. I'm angry for myself as a human being. He treated others with respect, but thought that I deserved all that he did to me. And that makes me angry. Of course, there was relief, sadness, all of that. I think I slept for days straight after I left. I was in a daze. My therapist reassured me that all of this is normal. I don't want this update to be negative, not in the slightest. Some good news as well. My therapist recommended yoga and Pilates, and it's been great for me. The release of a deep stretch, being in shape, feeling strong, it has all helped me massively. I feel healthy. And yes, I cry when I do hip opening stretches. Also, I made friends. Real friends. I joined a local women's club, part of my neighborhood, and we do various activities bi-monthly. This next week, we'll be doing a little embroidery project. Everyone brings snacks and we just enjoy each other's company. TLDR, I'm alive, I'm angry, but that's a part of healing, but I'm working on being happy. Also, I will never, ever eat mustard again, or be pushed into doing anything that I said no to the first time. Opie clarifies, he did not do jail time. He went to mandated counseling that he was considered legally acceptable, equivalent to jail in our state. That's the catalyst that resulted in me moving, and our divorce moving along properly. He was trying to impregnate me, he told me that. Hey, that's a nice little zing to end the episode on with that one, huh? A little bit of a, hey, this is what the hospitalization was like. It was very brutal. He was trying to put a baby in me. Yeah, it wasn't like the normal breakups where it's like, oh, the condom slipped, there's a hole in the condom, and we just happened to have a baby as the breakup was occurring. No, rough. Hey, rough. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Posted by user, some character 9172 who deleted their account, titled, "Am I the asshole for keeping the promise I made my kids at the expense of my stepdaughter?" So, I, 43 female, have 2 children. Sarah, 17 female, and Aiden, 15 male. 9 years ago, my late husband passed away in a fatal car crash. I was devastated. I was afraid for my kids to grow up without a father, and I was afraid to be alone. Luckily, my family stepped up, my brother-in-law acted as a surrogate father for my kids. My sister and brother-in-law do not have kids of their own, but were happy to help us out. 5 years ago, I met my now husband, 47 male, and his daughter, Elizabeth, 17 female, at a friend's housewarming party. I was hesitant to date again, but I took things slow, making sure that he was a good man to be around my kids. I discussed my kids' feelings with them along every important milestone and made sure that they were comfortable with my husband and stepdaughter. When he proposed, and I spoke to my kids about how they felt, only one request, the promise, was made. I would make sure that my kids and I had time together, just the three of us still. I agreed to take my children out twice a month, just the three of us, with exceptions if need be. As my kids remember their father, and Elizabeth's mother was still in her life, we made a rule that neither of us would try to be parents to our stepkids. We are responsible for our bio kids. This was discussed with all the children together. Our kids are also allowed to choose how they feel about one another, whether or not they wished for a sibling relationship or something else. It's not up for my husband and I to decide. Back to present time, I still regularly take my kids out twice a month for an adventure with the three of us. This could be going out to dinner, a movie, the zoo, etc. I will take Elizabeth with me for some things, such as getting our nails done, shopping, volunteering. Sometimes my kids will come along as well. My husband and I are still responsible for our own kids. We parent them differently, but that's what's causing the problems. We are each in charge of grades, party planning, rewards, punishments, special parent-child time, chore lists, curfews, and rules. The issue is, I am far more active in my kids' lives than my husband is. I regularly celebrate my children, go to all of their events, keep on top of their grades, I know where my kids are, I listen to their concerns, and speak about their lives. My husband doesn't do those things for my stepdaughter. I think I underestimated how much this is creating tension between our kids. Elizabeth and Aiden don't interact with one another. Elizabeth and Sarah absolutely despise one another. Sarah and Aiden are best friends. I'm thinking Elizabeth is the problem here then, right? I wonder what happens with Elizabeth in this story. My husband came to me yesterday and said that we needed to talk about how Sarah and Aiden, mostly Sarah, treat Elizabeth. He pointed out several instances of exclusionary behavior. Okay, so maybe Sarah and Aiden are the problem then. Such as Sarah driving Aiden around but not Elizabeth. Sarah and Aiden deciding to have the 2 bedrooms across the house from Sarah. Sarah and Aiden deciding to have 2 bedrooms across the house from Sarah? I'm guessing from Elizabeth. Originally, Aiden and Elizabeth would have had them. Sarah not inviting Elizabeth on her birthday trip to Cedar Point, despite them having the same friend group. Sarah spending money buying Aiden gifts, but not Elizabeth. Aiden refusing to allow Elizabeth to use his technology. What? What does that mean? Sorry, you're not allowed to use my ray guns. Sarah and Aiden only doing things Elizabeth doesn't enjoy while at home, or stopping when Elizabeth wants to join. Okay, I don't know if I'm translating that right in my head. Aiden refusing to cook for Elizabeth, Sarah buying all 3 of them locks for their bedroom doors, which my husband claims was only to make it look like Sarah did something nice for Elizabeth. I'm confused what the problem is here. My husband claimed that I was the cause of this problem by setting the example of excluding Elizabeth with the promise that I made to my kids. He demands that I stop the practice and start to treat Elizabeth like my own kid. I said no, as that's not part of our agreement. Elizabeth isn't the one asking me, he isn't willing to step up and act as a father to my kids, and my children come first. I will always make them feel valued. I'm the only one who ever plans anything for the kids. Since we've bought a house together, he has only planned birthday parties for Elizabeth, nothing else. He doesn't plan family trips, dinners, celebratory events, none of that. I know he won't put in any effort for my kids, as he barely does for his own. When I've brought this up to him in the past, he said that it's not my problem and reminds me of our agreement. Oh, and since I didn't add it in, I'm going to speak to both of my kids separately and then together to get to the bottom of their behavior. So am I the asshole for refusing to break the promise to my kids? This is a really dysfunctional family. How do people function in families like this? You guys just don't like each other by the sounds of it. I don't know. I see how you commented he didn't do anything for your kids. He said they aren't my kids, but wants you to include her. What a hypocrite. Yeah, he's a huge hypocrite for that one. He's like, hey, Elizabeth is your daughter, but Sarah and Aiden, fuck them kids. No, they're not my kids. They're not my problem. He just wants her to do all the parenting and leave him out of it. That's probably one of the reasons all his ex divorced him. He's lazy. Yeah, exactly. He only made the agreement to keep the relationship secretly hoping that she would change her mind and be mum to his kid too. He just wants to be lazy whilst OP does the parenting, only chipping in when she does something that he doesn't like. Exactly, he didn't want her rules, but he wanted her to take on all the mental and physical load for his child. He doesn't like it now because it shows how shitty of a father he is. Is his daughter getting the short end of the stick? Absolutely, but it's because he isn't stepping up. It has nothing to do with the wife. I'm surprised that Elizabeth chooses to spend so much time over at their house the way things are. I'd be throwing a fit and staying at my mum's. I would too. Elizabeth ain't having a good time over there. Not the arsehole, I guess, but did you not see how low effort his parenting was before you married him, since you took it slow, etc.? Maybe it's just me, but I would have a very hard time respecting my partner if he was such a bare minimum father to his child. I can see how it would have flown under the radar before they moved in. The things that she mentioned sound like low-key parenting moments. The true day in, day out stuff, nothing that you'd post on Facebook. When you're only spending like 3 days a month with your partner's kid to get to know them over lunch, you might miss that they're not being consistent in that area. Exactly. The little things are easy to miss until you're living together and seeing the whole picture. It's tough to spot inconsistency on date nights or weekend visits. Yeah, I'm just saying we can't possibly know why. And it could definitely be that Elizabeth is a huge jerk, or it could be that the siblings are huge jerks. There's no way of knowing, because we really aren't given any information about the actual substance of why these kids don't like each other. I think a lot of people are making wild guesses and filling in subtext from their own experiences. I find it a bit suspicious that things have gotten to such an untenable point in the house, and she claims to have zero knowledge of why her own kids don't like Elizabeth, despite going on and on about how involved she is with them and how they talk about everything. Everything except why they hate a person in their house. Something doesn't add up. How is she claiming to know everything about her kids, but nothing about this? What I do know is that either way, no matter who is to blame for the rift, it's untenable. And the issue absolutely isn't that she spends time alone with her own kids, or that she's more involved with the kids. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's the right and healthy thing to do. The problem is that she's letting her children bully Elizabeth. And she hasn't even asked what precipitated all of this. It's a hard boundary to strike, because if Elizabeth has done something to be particularly detestable to them, then they shouldn't be forced to allow her into their lives as a close friend, or pretend that everything is fine, and she definitely should never infringe on individual time with OP's alone time with her biological children. But I honestly think that the time with OP's children seems like a separate issue. We weren't really given a solid indication that Elizabeth is upset about it. The husband is blaming the issues on OP spending alone time with her kids, but nowhere in the story does Elizabeth say anything like that. And it doesn't explain why OP's kids are treating her the way they are. It seems like the husband assumes that the bullying is enabled because she doesn't treat all 3 kids equally. And I don't think that means that she should take her away scared. She should take away her sacred alone time with her kids, not at all. I think he's pointing to a stupid non-solution for an actual real problem. The issue isn't that she spends time alone with her kids, it's that she's letting them be bullies and refusing to parent when it comes to how her kids treat Elizabeth. She's not even bothering to find out why. It sounds like he's also not bothering to find out why. How long is this comment? Oh my god. Alright, I'm gonna read the whole comment. This is a lot longer than I thought. It sounds like he's also not bothering to find out why. Don't get me wrong, this man sounds like he's a problem as a parent as well, but even if he feels that he does know why they've made it clear that he cannot parent her children in any way. But even if he feels he does know why, they have made it clear that he cannot parent her children in any way. so it's up to her to get to the root of the behavior. They've set their marriage up in such a way that she's the only one who can do anything about it. Opie is right to continuously spend solo time with her own kids, but I'm wondering whether or not she's a reliable narrator. Because how can the problem have gotten this bad, and she still has no idea why her kids don't like Elizabeth and are icing her out? Why would you let your kids get to the point where they have done so many potentially cruel things, and you don't feel the need to stop them or even ask why? The issue here is that I find two completely things being conflated. One is completely reasonable, and the other isn't. It's completely reasonable to spend time alone with your own children. It's the right thing to do and seems especially well measured if she's being truthful about spending some time with Elizabeth and not ignore or ostracize her. But the unreasonable thing is that she's allowed her children to completely isolate and bully Elizabeth in her own home. And somehow the only solution to this is to stop hanging out with her own kids. That's dumb. Her alone time with her kids doesn't appear to have anything to do with why they are shunning Elizabeth. They don't have to include her like a sibling, but they are allowed to straight up bully her they are allowed, to bully her in her own house, and Opie hasn't even bothered to learn why. Nah, that sounds like bad parenting of her own kids who she is responsible for to me. I would never allow my kids to bully my stepkids in my own house. You cannot force people to get along or to like each other, but you can do your best to squash as much passive aggressiveness and outright hostility as possible, and to not allow that under your roof. Difference in activities is fine, unchecked cruelty is not. That was a marathon, but I respect that comment. A lot of missing details from the story, absolutely. Just when I needed him most, Marky goes live. Good to see you. Husband is terrible whenever the story has, we agreed not to be parents, stepkids. You know the story is going to have neglectful parent or parents. And I think in this case, there is two neglectful parents in this one. They took all the fun out of dysfunctional. And now, on to the updates. Wow, hi all. I didn't expect this to blow up, nor did I expect to be posting again after only 24 hours. A lot has happened in that time. 24 hours? What could have happened in 24 hours? What are you talking about? Jesus. First, I want to address some information that was previously left in my original post. It seems I am not a very good writer. I also apologize in advance for using a lot of lists in this post. It helps me to have things to write, to have things written out. 1. Aiden is a boy. I accidentally wrote 15 female, but I fixed that, my mistake. 2. Both my husband and I were unaware of the dynamic in our household. We both work long hours during the week and don't spend much time together at home. For context, my work schedule is 8 to 6 Monday to Thursday. I have Fridays and Sundays off, and the option to come in on Saturdays when I wish to. My kids and I go to sleep at around 8 to 9. Elizabeth stays up a little bit later, and my husband goes to sleep around 7. He works 12-hour shifts from 6 to 6 every day and wakes up for work at around 5. Bro, your husband doesn't exist. He gets home, immediately goes to sleep, wakes up, immediately is 1 hour to go to work. Jesus. He also has Fridays and Sundays off, which he doesn't use to parent by the sounds of it. I usually plan for the weekends on Monday, which we typically are out of the house for. We, as in me, always my kids, stepdaughter and hubby. 3. I do spend time with my stepdaughter, as stated in the previous post. 4. My husband and Elizabeth have different ideas of spending time together. I figured. For me and my kids, it's getting out of the house. For those two, it's staying home, playing board games, or watching a movie. This activity started because my husband wasn't in a good financial situation post-divorce, and he couldn't afford to take her out often, so they did spend a lot of time together. 5. Elizabeth's mother, Bailey, is in jail and has been for 5 months. She committed a small crime and was sentenced to a year. I wonder what she did, I'm curious. She keeps in contact with Elizabeth via phone calls, letters, and visitation. Saturdays are usually spent now with me and Elizabeth going to visit Bailey. Unless I need to work, her father doesn't bring her. Why? Why are you the one taking her to see the mom? Did something happen with her and the dad? Did she hurt this man? 6. My kids and Elizabeth did get along. The exclusion doesn't happen during family trips or when I'm around. 7. Sarah has a car, but Elizabeth doesn't, though she has a license. Sarah has been working since I was 15, and I agreed that I would pay half plus insurance, while Sarah pays the other half plus gas. 8. Aiden was also not on the Cedar Point trip. I paid for most of the cost, but Sarah helped, and a lot of the other girls plus parents chipped in as well. 9. I am more strict with my kids than my husband is with Elizabeth. They have a curfew, grade expectations, safety regulations, etc. So Elizabeth doesn't have safety regulations? I think that's it, but I might add some if I think of anything else. I'm also going to address the previous points. These are not justifications, just how I see them along with more clarification. Sarah driving Aiden around but not Elizabeth. Aiden does not have a license and has multiple outside activities. Elizabeth drives either mine or my husband's car. Sarah and Aiden deciding to have the 2 bedrooms across the house from Sarah. Originally, Aiden and Elizabeth would have had them. Our house has 2 master bedrooms and 2 regular bedrooms. Oh, you guys are rich. Sarah was going to have one of the masters, but she insisted that Elizabeth take it. Her reasoning being that she won't have to share a bathroom with her stepbrother. The other 2 masters are on the main floor, the regular rooms are on the second floor. Literally just a hallway with bedrooms and a bathroom. Sarah not inviting Elizabeth on her birthday trip to Cedar Point, despite them having the same friend group. I guess, yeah, this isn't justification, it is explanation, because that doesn't answer anything for me. Said in point 8. Okay. Sarah spending money buying Aiden gifts, but not Elizabeth. I don't see a problem with this. Sarah earns her own money, she can spend it as she pleases. Aiden refusing to allow Elizabeth to use his technology. He and Sarah are both gamers, but Aiden is 10 times more invested in it than Sarah. I don't understand why you'd bring that up though. Sarah and Aiden only doing things Elizabeth doesn't enjoy while at home, or stopping when Elizabeth wants to join. Not sure, but definitely not okay. So why has this been normalized then? Aiden refusing to cook for Elizabeth. Aiden cooked a lot as a kid and developed a passion for it. He cooks dinner for the entire family, including Elizabeth, and will cook separate things on Sarah's request, like lunch or breakfast, and she will also buy him ingredients for new recipes for either of them wish to try. Sarah buying all 3 of them locks for their bedroom doors, which my husband claims was only to make it look like Sarah did something nice for Elizabeth. This one I also see no issue with. Privacy is important and all 3 installed their locks. Yeah, did someone say that there was an issue with this? Why did you think that this was an issue? Once again, I don't know what's going on. Update. I spoke with all 3 kids last night separately and told them to all write lists of things they want to address in today's family meeting. I found out a lot that absolutely shocked me when I spoke privately. For the family meeting, we all sat down in the living room. I asked Elizabeth to speak first, since she is the one who was upset without explanation for her behavior. She reiterated the statements above and added some things on her list. On Elizabeth's list, there are movie nights upstairs without her, refusing to drive her to school and leaving without her. Okay, that's pretty harsh. I can understand that. Sarah, refusing to invite her to hang out with their friends or lying about where she's going. Sarah having a group chat without her, refusing to even attempt a sibling relationship with her, putting locks on their doors and using the bathroom to be able to visit each other and hang out. Gaming without her. Elizabeth said she felt as if they hated her and wanted her gone. She said she is just as worthy of a parent as Sarah and Aiden were, and how it's unfair that we get to be a family and she doesn't have one. It's a pretty rough one night right there. If I was the dad and mum here, I'd feel pretty bad about hearing that one. Sarah, very rudely, asked if she honestly felt she has any less of a family than she and Aiden do. Sarah! Don't say that! Elizabeth was going to say something else, but my husband stepped in and asked Sarah to read her list. Why is Elizabeth not gonna... Hey, why are you cutting her off? I want Elizabeth to cook here. Though Sarah told me last night about what Elizabeth had been doing, I didn't expect how bluntly she would bring it up. Sarah's list: breaking into their bedrooms and stealing their stuff and food, insisting on sharing clothes and matching, insisting on a sibling relationship when already declined by both, following her around school and forcing herself into Sarah's friend group despite being told multiple times to leave them alone, threatening to go to the teachers / me and my husband if they didn't. Okay, I see where this is going. Okay, stealing and then ruining Sarah's makeup. Okay, what? Why? Telling my kids they should be happy their father died because now they have a dad in his... That's crazy. That's crazy, Elizabeth. Oh no. They're my kids. They should be happy their father died because now they have her dad and a sister. No. 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 I don't blame Sarah and Aiden now. Oh my god. Making an inappropriate comments towards anime characters out loud while watching together. This includes minors. Okay, Dr. Disrespect. Jesus. Interesting. Insisting Aiden has a crush on her. You do like me. You do have a crush on me, okay? I'm gonna say inappropriate things towards anime characters, and you have a crush on me. Getting handset with Aiden, and then getting defensive when Sarah intervenes and calls her out for doing so. This is the real reason Sarah insisted on the bedroom situation. What is handset? Purchasing 2 fun items and giving one to Sarah after she confessed to a crush on TV. What do you mean 2 fun items? How damaged is Elizabeth? Can we, okay. Throwing a fit whenever she loses in a game in any form of competition. Yeah, to be expected when you lose. I'll do the same. Refuses to study and spend time on school, and then complaining when she doesn't get good grades. I've tried nothing, and I'm all out of solutions. Expecting me to step up and do everything for her, even though I do not do those things for even my own kids, instead of her father. Constantly being late, getting ready for school, and then being upset that they don't wait for her. Flirting with Sarah's boyfriend at the time because sisters share... because sisters share everything. And no, they do not. Oh my god. Someone's a bit deep in the romance novels. I'm gonna be real with you though. Someone's been reading a bit too much smut. If sisters share everything, that's crazy. Refusing to get a job or do anything worthwhile while being jealous of both kids' accomplishments. And once again, I've tried nothing, and I'm all out of solutions once again. When she was done, I asked Aiden if Elizabeth was really trying to touch him. He didn't answer at first, but after a moment said yes. Elizabeth denied it immediately, but Sarah shut her down and said she wasn't finished speaking. I have more to say. Your Honor, there are more bullets in the magazine. I have more bullets to shoot this woman with, okay? Sarah told Elizabeth that she was a disgusting human being, that she thinks that she can get away with anything that she wants, but she can't. None of their friends like her, and wouldn't be around her if Elizabeth didn't make them. That she was spoiled and entitled. That if she ever tried to do anything with her brother, Sarah and everyone else would make her life a living hell. I stopped Sarah there, as I don't tolerate threats of violence. But you have tolerated Elizabeth doing all of this, supposedly under your roof, OP? Violence is a bridge too far, but her being a creep towards my son, I tolerate that, but violence? No. Elizabeth said that it's not fair that she and Sarah have similar interests. Similar interests. Very similar interests, huh? Yeah, okay. And that she's only treated worse because she's ugly and Sarah isn't. Oh, shit! Don't say that! Oh my god! Oh, to be a fly on the wall in this situation is crazy. When you do it, it's cool. When I do it, it's trashy and weird. Sarah argued back, saying it doesn't have anything to do with her looks. She's just a bad person. Sarah's, when she was writing in the kitchen, there was just flames coming off that pen. She's like, I've got the transcript ready, Your Honor. Just fucking explosions happening on the paper. Elizabeth brought up how Sarah is the bad one, purposefully excluding her, spending time with me separately, refusing to acknowledge her in the house that she lives in, refusing to accept her and her father as family, that they both lost a parent. Sarah says, my dad is dead. He's never coming back. Your mum's in jail. You speak with her daily. See her every week. It's not the same at all. And Elizabeth says, it is the same. I share my dad. You're just bitching that you have to share your mum now. Sarah says back, at least my dad didn't choose to leave me. Your mum had a choice, and I can see why she chose it. Elizabeth slapped Sarah. Aiden punched Elizabeth. Husband shoved Aiden into a mirror hung on the wall. The hysterics are just going, family are punching each other left and right in this one. I started screaming at my husband to keep his hands off my children while telling my kids to go pack a bag. We're leaving. Kids ran off. Elizabeth followed them. Husband and I were screaming at each other. I could hear Elizabeth pounding on their doors and crying. After a lot of yelling, my husband slapped me. Then Sarah started screaming at Elizabeth. Apparently, Aiden was putting the bags in the car, and the girls disappeared. I found them in my bedroom fighting because Sarah was packing a bag for me. I told Sarah to go wait in the car while I pack. She hesitantly obeyed. I packed my bag while husband and Elizabeth were screaming at me, then left. Sarah was on the curb in the driver's seat, so I let her drive away and then told her to switch with me. My son had to be taken to the hospital as the mirror had cut him. Most functional family on Reddit. Jesus Christ, he slapped you? Hey, keep your hands off my wife. Aiden needed 17 stitches and had a concussion. Jesus! Oh, wow. Whoa. I'm pressing charges against my husband and filing for separation and divorce immediately. Reddit will be in the comments to be like, actually, was it that bad? I'm currently writing this from our hotel room. I spoke to Sarah and asked why she didn't bring any of this up previously. She told me that Elizabeth only started acting like that after my husband had already proposed, and then both she and Aiden wanted to be happy, because they'd seen how depressed I was after my late husband died. This has obviously broken my heart. I told her, and later Aiden, that they are my happiness. Sarah argued and said that since I'd made so many sacrifices, it's only fair that they did too. I promised her that she never needs to sacrifice anything for me as I am their mother. Sarah started crying, apologizing, and saying how she never meant for me to lose another husband and that she would have never let Aiden get hurt. I kept reassuring her the whole ride to our hotel. My kids are asleep now. I'm scared. Neither husband nor Elizabeth has contacted me. I'm not sure if I want them to. That's it for now. Thanks for all the comments. Question. Should I go to jail and speak to Bailey? Maybe. That's one thing you could do. It seems my husband didn't know about Elizabeth's behavior, and I didn't either, so I just want answers. Wow. That was truly something. Just a small crime. There's just a little bit of small crime going on here. Here comes Sarah with the metal chair out of left field. And she hits him with the RKO. What do the comments have to say about this one? I'm just sitting here with my mouth wide open, gasping like a fish out of water. Update went full on left field. Just goes to show that parents sometimes have no idea what's going on in their kids' lives, even when in the same household. I don't even have any advice. This family's screwed. Yep. There was definitely a vibe that happened in this. There was definitely a story that happened here. There were vibes that were shared. There was violence that was shared also. I don't condone it, but it is very entertaining. I won't lie. I caught the vibe that the husband was a creep in part 1, and yeesh, this kid is so messed up. I don't know that OP wasn't trying to keep on top of this, but there were many people trying to hide it for their own reasons. I'm glad that she finally saw it. She acted so fast. Now I hope she gets both of these creeps out of her house. Creeps be creeping, huh? Well, hopefully husband, I think it's ex-guaranteed husband, will be joining his first ex-wife in jail. So I don't think them getting them out is to be a problem. Elizabeth will have both parents in jail and a lot to reflect on, but she'll be CPS's problem. The husband has ensured that OP won't have too hard of a time removing them both from her and her children's lives. Considering what she did to her stepbrother, I hate to think of her around other vulnerable children. They usually keep children who have assaulted other children away from foster homes with families in them. Source was a kinship guardian of a child who assaulted someone else's children, not mine thankfully. She has been removed and placed in a foster home with no children. Obvious solution, but good to know. Thank you. Damn, I mean, to be honest, this friction was obviously going to happen the second I read how the adults decided to parent. They shouldn't have got married at all. This fiction would be more accurate. No, it's not. It was an entertaining story. This is a large part of why I haven't dated since my husband died. I can absolutely imagine my child not wanting to ruin my happiness and believe that I had made so many sacrifices. Kids don't realize that much of what they consider sacrifices is what any half-decent adult sees as basic parenting. This is me. I swore if my husband died, I wouldn't dare and date until my child becomes an adult. I am terrified of what other people can do behind closed doors without you knowing. Always say, if my significant other dies, I will date and have fun, but there will be none of those serious relationship milestones. We can go out to dinner, and maybe I'll spend the night at yours or a hotel, but we will not be moving in together. There won't be any blending There won't be any blending families or mixing incomes. That can all wait until the girls are out of the house. Question, should I go to jail and speak to Bailey? What? Why? At this point, you don't even need nor should speak to his ex-wife because soon-to-be ex-husband and his daughter first assaulted after Sarah dropped those bombs, especially regarding Aiden, so that literally answered everything right there anyway. Real question is, why can't OP herself see that herself at face value after what happened? She's trying to understand why Elizabeth is a total piece of shit, especially she did to Aiden. This hurts to read. Let alone shit starting she did at Sarah. Like, no offense, like what the F is there to understand about her? After that asshole slapped OP, all understanding and rationalizing those two bullshits should be out the window, yet OP still wanting answers when everything was answered anyway. She truly needs to realize that she and her kids were living with trash for too long, but now divorcing all that trash after the blowout revelation. Truer facts were never spoken. Posted by Responsible Push 702, titled, Am I the asshole for telling my sister-in-law she should learn how to say my name correctly before she names her son after me? I, 28 male, am an Irish man married to an American woman. We live in America for right now. Her sister and brother-in-law, who are also both American, have decided that they will name their son after me. My name is O'Sheen. You thought you could one-up me with that one, yeah. O'Sheen. I've seen this name before. Okay, huh? Sister-in-law calls me Ocean, or O'Sheen, depending on how hard she tries. Yeah, you guys thought you got me with that one, huh? Huh? Yeah, sorry, where? Huh? Am I hearing haters in the chat? Oh, Marky couldn't pronounce O'Sheen. Crazy, huh? You think I've lived in Ireland. I'm part of the culture. Alright? Hey, what's this? Wait. You thought you got me, huh? Yeah. What's this? What's that? Oh, crazy. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm Irish, huh? You thought you can one-up me? Marky can't say an Irish name. Crazy, huh? That's what I thought. I'm not hearing any. I'm hearing no Marky haters left in the chat, huh? Sister-in-law has been corrected many times and has never said it right. She even decided that they wanted to use the father in my name for their sons as well. He's due in October and neither sister-in-law or her husband can say the name correctly, while she's also talking about their future plans to visit Ireland and connect their son with his name's heritage in the future and how they can stay with my wife and I when we move in or when we move back to Ireland. What? What heritage do they have? Like, it's not a family heritage. My wife has explained far too many times that she can't say my name right. Her sister brushes it off. Their parents have suggested a more common name as the first name and Asheen as a middle one, so there's less confusion for him. Yesterday, we saw sister-in-law and her husband again, and she was saying that she expected me to be more smug to have a kid named after me. But I looked indifferent. I told her she should learn how to say my name correctly before she names her son after me. Sister-in-law told me that I should learn to be less of a dick and to be more appreciative. I shrugged and told her that it doesn't mean that I'm not right, and especially if she ever goes to Ireland. Am I the asshole? Okay, guys, what are we thinking with this one? Marky didn't say it right. Brooke Taylor, you know what that... Oh, shit, I realized I didn't say it right. That's so funny. You're the asshole. That was my brother's name, and I have an equally un-English Celtic name, which is hard to pronounce for most people who don't speak a Celtic language. Never made it a big deal that someone pronounced my name wrong, nor did my brother, except to laugh at the teachers growing up. Just appreciated people making an effort. Would have been absolutely delighted to have someone named after me. What an honor. even if they pronounced it slightly wrong. Okay, you're annoyed that people don't pronounce... Oh, okay, he pronounces to write a whole epilogue. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it. You're annoyed that people don't pronounce your name right. Correct way until every person in the world pronounces it correctly if that's what you want to waste your life doing. Fair enough. The salt coming out of this post is crazy. But they can name their child what they want, and if it's given to their child how they pronounce it is the correct way to pronounce it, it's the child's name, not yours. You're gonna piss off a lot of Irish people once they run into this person being like, Ocean? A cousin named his daughter after the male version of a Celtic name by accident, as he grew up unable to speak our language in England. I didn't message him to try to get him to change his daughter's name. Where he lives, no one would know anyway, and all it would do would make him feel terrible. How do you think so many versions of names exist? Just to take the honor that you were given and thank them for it with good grace, and a lesson in how to pronounce the name, with a recording and written out instructions as it's important to you, instead of reveling in the pity parade and offense-taking that is so popular these days. Okay, I know who you are. I understand that names are important to people, and I do make an effort to get names right, but please bear in mind that people can really struggle with pronunciations in other languages. They can't hear nuances. It's a teaching moment. Find an easy way to teach it, rather than a petty grudge making moment. I mean, listen to that idiot presenter McEnroe pronouncing that tennis player Djokovic as a joke. Djokovic. Over and over to the whole world, and he must have been told a million times. That's an example of rude and insulting, not someone naming their child after you. But the sister-in-law does pronounce it wrong over and over, so it is an insult. Facts and logic have entered the chat. Welcome to America. Lol. What does gang have to say? What do we said about this one? I can't vote because I'm not logged in on this window. I firmly am in the you're the asshole camp though. I'll just put that one out there. I bow to the superior spelling. Ashin, you're the asshole. Reddit moment. Ew, this comment. Ashin, can you see by the da? Greetings from the fellow resident of the Southern Hemisphere. Greetings, Southern Hemisphere residents. My name is hard to pronounce for people outside of Europe. Marky gets it right. Katya. And it's annoying when people ignore you when you explain it to them and decide to still mispronounce your name. It is. I can imagine it. It's so annoying when people say my Marcus name incorrectly as well. This is a shared experience between you and I. The first 3 ranks in the Navy: Seaman Recruit, Seaman Apprentice, Seaman. I made rank SO so fast not to be called Seaman Wideleg. That's crazy. Oh my god. Hey, Seaman Wideleg. I'm sorry, I don't want to bully you for that one. You deserve better. Am I the asshole for admitting my sister taught me how to cook and refusing to teach my step-siblings? My older 26 female taught me, 16 male, how to cook years ago. Whenever I go to her house, we cook together too. She doesn't speak to our dad at all, and she never met his wife or his stepkids. She always said that she's not a part of Dad's family, but she and I are family, and that feels pretty right. Another sibling one, huh? Honestly, I feel like I'm a part of her family, but not Dad's. He's just made so many mistakes, and he owns up to some of them, and some of them happened when our mom was sick, like disappearing for days at a time, and leaving my sister to take over caring for me and for Mom. Or like selling a lot of Mum's stuff so we'd have more money in the direct aftermath of her death. I hate these people. Or when he invited a random woman into the house after Mum's funeral and very clearly had sex with her while we were in the house and let the random woman wander around like she owned the place until the next day. He admitted to my sister that he cheated while my mom was dying. I heard him confess to her, but stuff like that are Dad's mistakes. He just didn't give any consideration to us. It started off with, am I admitting to my sister how to cook, refusing to teach my step-siblings, and being like, so, here's my dad's law. Oh, shit. My sister was like, screw this, I'm out 8 years ago, and she said even back then that she'd never come back, which she hasn't. I sometimes cook for myself. I eat at a friend's house a lot too. So the other day I went out to grab some ingredients and made a pasta bake for myself, and my dad's wife and her kids came home while I was eating. His wife questioned me later in the day and asked where I learned to cook, and I admitted that my sister taught me. She told me it would be great if I taught her kids, as it would give us some bonding time. I was like, no, I don't wanna. And she insisted that it would be perfect and a sweet idea. Dad didn't say anything. Surprise, surprise. His wife's daughter said she really wanted me to teach her and got excited because she saw it as a done deal. When I didn't give in, my dad's wife told me that I should pass on the big sibling knowledge of cooking, and it's important that I take on an older sibling role with her kids instead of acting like we're strangers. I said we really are. I told her that I already have a sister and I don't need another one or a brother. I also told her that it wasn't my job to be her kid's big sibling. She told me it's selfish to hold out when I had a big sibling to teach me. Am I the asshole? You're not the asshole. You're the asshole. Everyone sucks here. Thoughts? That's a yeesh kind of story right there, I won't lie. I think it's not the asshole personally, but you guys are welcome to your own opinions on this story. OP has offered the following explanation on why they think they might be the asshole. I admitted that my sister taught me how to cook and then refused to teach my step-siblings. I know why it was asked and why it would be nice and how it would make me, I guess kinda, being willing to spend that time with them, the time with the steps and teach them, but I said no. No real big reason or issue with the kids. I said no because I didn't want to, even in front of the kids, and one was excited by the idea. There's maybe a chance that makes me a bigger asshole too. When adults don't want to do parenting. Some you're the assholes and everyone sucks here in the chat today, I see. Would any you're the assholes and everyone sucks here like to step up and give their reasoning? Not the assholes are welcome to. I feel like not the assholes are going to give their reasoning by default. Yeah, I want to know why. Why? You're not going to be attacked for your opinions, of course. I'm just curious as to know what you think. I'll try and pry the minds of Controversial again and see what they have to say about it. I like to know. Please don't let her parentify you. How's that a controversial take? This is not parentification. Yes, it is. I think that's textbook definition parentification. No one should require a kid to parent another kid and do labor. Yeah, it does sound like she's requiring her to do that. It's her role as a mother to teach her kids to cook and clean. Your sister did it as a favor, and you were really lucky that she did. I wish you luck. Because the stepmom asked OP to teach their siblings to cook as a sibling actually for them to bond. OP isn't being told to cook all the meals. They were asked to lead a bonding experience that they themselves had with their sister. Don't you think because the sister had to do that, instead of their parents contributed to her piecing off? She was sadly parentified on that. Accept, and, well, on that, accept. And that's why I said OP was lucky. The sister nor him were supposed to do it, rather their parents. This isn't about the sister. If it wasn't important to mention, he wouldn't have. The question that OP asked was, were they the asshole for not teaching their siblings how to cook? People mention plenty of things all the time that aren't important. Parentification can include things like this, yes, but dialed up to 11 in frequency and intensity. It is taking multiple aspects of parenting and putting them mostly on the shoulders of a child. Parentification is when it's serious enough to start affecting the child's time for things like school, recreation, and self-care. Teaching a few cooking lessons or helping with homework occasionally, or babysitting for an evening, can be a part of the normal chores that a child has at home, but the vast majority of the care is still the responsibility of the parents. If they're doing all of these things and more, basically being more of a parent than the parent is, that is parentification. This appears to be more of a step-parent who wants to push a relationship where one isn't wanted. Yeah, I can agree with that. I think, yeah, there definitely isn't a relationship that is wanted here, and the step-parent is, you can do anything for a price, and you don't want to do it though, so why be pushed into that situation? My reasoning is I'm contrarian and an agent of chaos. I like that reasoning, that's good. I love when people request something and get upset when it's denied, almost as if the option no doesn't exist to them. She's free to ask, but in private, not in front of the kids, and the OP is always allowed to refuse. Yeah, she's using the kids as a tool of manipulation here. Also, she didn't have to be rude about it in front of the kids. She doesn't have to do it, but it's how she rejected it. Also, maybe it wasn't in front of the kids. I don't know, I was writing fanfic while listening. I don't know. Also, this comment is irrelevant. No, I'm kidding. Not the asshole. Tell her that her children don't have an older sibling like you do, but they do have a mother to teach them. Tell her that your older sibling had to stand in for your deceased mother, and she would prefer her kids be in that situation. Sorry, but my older sister taught me how to cook because my dad was too busy cheating on my sick mother. So no, I won't be teaching her how to cook. So I'll teach your kids to cook when we find out dad is cheating on you. Shit. I wouldn't say that. There's a big chance that dad is cheating, and then OP would be expected to keep his word to distract the children and let them know that he'll always be there. In families like this, you should only say something if you mean it and can stand for it. Stepmom, I understand that you think it's a sweet idea. I don't disagree. I had a good time learning from my sister, but that interaction came out of a genuine interest in both sides. You were trying to force me to do this with your children really just results in me disliking you and your kids. As far as the practical skills, my sister was able to figure out cooking even without an older sibling or even parents. Your children will figure it out eventually too, but are also lucky enough to have you. As for the bonding opportunity, it wasn't something that I was keen on to begin with, but you have actually soured me on it now. Your kids and I have an okay relationship right now. Please don't ruin that for us by trying to force something out of its natural evolution. Posted by user Am I the Asshole Throwaway 0911, titled, My husband says it's not his responsibility to give me a break. So I'm posting this on Throwaway because I truly just need to get this off my chest. I, 29 female, and my husband, 35 male, have been together for 10 years, married for 3, and have 2 beautiful children. I have a full-time job, usually working between 50 to 60 hours a week. My job is not stressful in a physical sense, but I'm a high-end manager, so I have a lot of responsibility on my shoulders, and it takes a toll on me. At the beginning of lockdown, my husband stopped working to care for our then 5-month-old and limit his exposure. At the time, we could make it work, and we both knew that it was a temporary struggle. When we became pregnant, he's pregnant too, again, this one. When we became pregnant with our second in 2021, I told him that I needed him to return to work. Ever since then, there has always been a reason why he couldn't, usually boiled down to the kids. He's miserable at home. I've been begging him to go back to work, even if I need to change my working hours or work remotely more often than I do to accommodate a second shift job for him, that it would help our financial situation and he would feel better. But there is always a reason why he can't. I just want to fix this so we can see my mouth. Yeah, a little narcissistic, but it is what it is. Having said that, I work a minimum of 50 hours a week in office and probably 5 to 10 at home sporadically through nights and weekends, but I do my very best to take some of the burden off of him when I get home. I immediately take over with the kids, we play, I make dinner, I handle the bedtime routine, and I get everyone up and fed before I return to work the next day. I'm not perfect by any means, I have a lot to work on, but I try my best. A lot of weekends, James, fake name, and the kids want to go out and do something as a family, and even though I'm far too tired, I usually try to push through for the kids' sake. I battle severe depression, and I've been in a low lately that I believe is caused by burnout. Last weekend, it was the anniversary of my mother's passing, and I was feeling a little extra emotional. I was at the end of my rope after work called me asking for help, and both kids were throwing separate fits. I snapped. I told James that I just needed an hour where I am not needed. Not as an employee, mum, wife, anything. Whether to play a video game or scroll my phone or take a shower where someone isn't jumping in with me, all I asked was for an hour. James responded to me that it's not his responsibility to give me a break and that I needed to figure that out for myself. That's crazy. James, Jesus Christ. That's a divorce asking to happen. I really do believe that. I do believe saying this to your wife when she has said that she's struggling from burnout and depression, saying that is like, I don't even know what to say. We're breaking up. Who do you think you are? I was taken aback and a little offended by this. You're only a little bit offended for this? I am a lot offended on your behalf, OP. Because I feel like a partnership, we should be helping one another and not figuring it out for ourselves. He responded with, I'm trying to teach you. No one's just gonna give you what you want. Oh my God, yeah, try telling that to a judge. Try telling that to a judge. See how well that goes. Later that evening, I got a call from my grandmother, reminiscing about my mum and I was crying. James then told me that he hadn't realized what day it was and apologized, so I thought that was that. Fast forward to yesterday, I was called into work for an 11-hour shift on Saturday, so I got a one-day weekend. I wasn't in a much better headspace, and my tipping point started by asking James to go to the store to get diapers before the kids woke up, and he refused to get up, putting the responsibility on me, and then proceeding to spend 5 hours, I am not exaggerating, I actually counted, non-stop sorting through his Magic the Gathering collection. Okay. Sunday is usually our big cleaning day, and I was a bit fed up doing the cleaning and keeping the kids entertained alone. I know it's such a small thing, but in my overstressed and depressed mindset, it was enough to snap just a little bit. I once again asked for an hour, and he once again told me that that wasn't his responsibility. I told him he was wrong this time. He then snapped back at me that he's always with the kids, and he never gets a break. He called me selfish for asking. I told him about going through his cards for the entire day, and he said that's work and not a break. I then mentioned that every day when I get home, the kids are watching TV and he's playing video games. I have no idea how long he plays before I get home, but I know he continues until I have dinner ready. Why do you have dinner ready when you have to do these long days? That's crazy. That's like actual machismo, like that Spanish saying, machismo. He said that isn't a break because he doesn't even like video games. What's the logic? How is it not? You don't even like video games, and why are you playing them? Why are you ignoring your kids? Oh, fire alarm's going off outside. Yeah, that's a red flag. There's a bell going off behind me. It is a warning. I don't know what to do. I don't know if I'm being unreasonable. I feel crazy because I feel like I'm not asking too much. All I know is I'm so tired of feeling this way. In the comments, Terrifyingly Alive says, honestly, at this point, I'd probably just claim that I have to work an extra shift or extra few hours one day and take a break for myself. Obviously, there are bigger problems if you need to do that to get any space for yourself, but you won't be able to face them with a clear head if you can't get any time to think about them. Yes, do this, OP. Tell him that you've been asked to stay overtime and then take yourself off to the spa, because screw him. He's a selfish, disrespectful, lazy, mooching, good-for-nothing layabout. Divorce would be better than looking after 3 kids, house would be cleaner, bills would be cheaper, groceries would be cheaper, and your children would actually be getting attention and being kept entertained if you had childcare instead of the neglectful stay-at-home dad, who doesn't actually do anything that a stay-at-home parent should do. You could easily afford daycare so that you can continue to work, if you downsized the house and got rid of the man-child, who undoubtedly runs up the energy bills with his constant gaming and TV usage, day in, day out, whilst he isn't working, so there's absolutely no reason to keep him. He would also have to work, otherwise he would be on the streets, but guess what? That's 100% a him problem. You shouldn't have to look after him anymore because he sure as hell doesn't give a shit about you. Yeah, in instances like this, I absolutely, especially if it's as bad as this, I say, do divorce these people if they don't change. I think you can give them a go. A fire alarm outside, yeah, fire alarm coming from this story, by the sounds of it. I think you do divorce the person in this instance and force them to be a carer for themselves, because you can't keep enabling behaviors like this. You can't keep enabling deadbeat dads. Deadbeat dads will take a mile every inch you give them, and then especially in this instance where you're working your ass to the bone, I wonder how much childcare he is actually doing, because he's just video gaming all day. That's not acceptable. It's not acceptable to be doing that to your kids. Bro setting off alarms everywhere. Yeah, this story was such a red flag that he set off alarms. I think amicable co-parenting, where one parent is forced to go back into being, a parent, an adult, is the way to go, and I'll stand by that. It's unhealthy. It's bad for the kids. It sets a bad example for the kids. What are we saying, guys? Oh God, he can sell them. I can't believe James keeps saying I want a divorce wrong. Wild how I want a divorce wrong. Yeah, can't believe he keeps saying that. Oh, man. Machismo. Yeah, machismo. Portuguese pronunciation, machismo. 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 It is the machismo though, right? That's exactly what this situation is, from what I'm getting. I learnt that word a few days ago. That was pretty cool, huh? How much of a red flag do you have to be that a fire alarm in a likely different country starts to go off? I hope that it's not here. I hope that we don't have those guys here. Not to mention, if they divorced and worked out a co-parent of schedule, you bet your ass that he'd get a job quick and OP would send the kids to him for a weekend to a week and finally get a break. I'm not sure that he would be motivated to get a job at all if this man actually looked at his wife and said spending 5 hours unboxing his new magic deck was not relaxing, it's work. Yeah, I hate Magic the Gathering. This isn't relaxing. You think I like doing this? Get back to the kids. I don't know if I'd be able to keep it together after such a delusional and selfish remark, and the fact that he doubled down to claim that all of the time he spends playing video games isn't relaxing either, because he doesn't even like video games, would have me seriously rethinking my marriage. My husband of 18 years always reminds me that we're the same team, and I can't imagine a spouse telling another spouse that helping give them a little alone time when they need a break from all the things isn't their responsibility. This guy sounds like a selfish, self-centered tool, and definitely not the useful kind. Who's that guy from TikTok, the dad, that like half his content is just cleaning things? I love watching him. Isn't his name like Joe or something like that? He is the complete opposite to this guy. Oh my god, there goes a Guzmani Gomez ad. Jesus. What's the cleaning dad? Joey Fu. Joey Fu. We all need a Joey Fu in my life. And now, on to the updates. I'm checked out of my marriage and I feel trapped. Please see my last post if you want any additional context, but in summary, I, 29 female, and my husband, 35 male, have been together for 10 years and have 2 beautiful children, my husband doesn't work, and I'm an overfull time manager and a full-time mum. Overfull? What is an overfull time manager? Okay, I think I get what they mean. For those wanting an update since the last post, it hasn't gotten better. But I've come to a realization that I've been checked out for a while, and the fights and problems that he and I have don't bother me like they used to. And yeah, usually apathy is one of the worst things for a relationship. You know it's done when you're apathetic. I have actual dreams about leaving him, and I want to. I, however, feel trapped. Some points that I didn't point out in my last post will cover that. 1. We have 2 cars, both in his name as gifts from his mother. I pay the insurance and tags on my car, the 2016 with 250,000 miles on it, that he ran into the ground driving for Uber for 2 years before COVID. But I've absolutely refused to pay for his newer 2020 car that I both begged his mum not to get because I knew that I would be stuck with the payments, so both cars are technically his. How did this happen? In the divorce, surely they are not his. 2. When we bought our house, it was under a false promise. His mum offered to watch the kids once she retires so James can return to work. This did not happen. Again, color me shocked, wow. She also co-signed for the home with my husband so we could get a better rate, so I also have no ownership of our home, or our house. I'd like to see that hold up in court again, but I don't know, I'm not a lawyer. 3. I don't have anywhere to go. My dad has a small basement that I could rent, but it adds over 30 minutes to my commutes, and I don't know what I would do for childcare. You can't just live in the basement and have a better life and have him like also look after them a little bit? I would hope that that's a good situation, but obviously not. Other than being unhelpful, he has shoved me. Been romantic with me while I slept. Okay, whoa, way to put it lightly, Jesus, and constantly gaslights me. I'm over it, but I feel stuck. Get the police? Get the police involved? Get the police? What's going on? I know it's unhealthy, but to cope, I'll usually have a couple, 2 to 3 beers before bed, and he constantly berates me for being an alcoholic. I'd berate him for being a useless sack of shit. There's probably more that I'm forgetting, but I'm just emotionally tired, and I'm not sure what to do. In the comments, I'm petty as fuck. Everything is under your husband's name and your mother-in-law. If you have a joint account and you're the only one working, move the money to a separate account, including future deposits. Even living with your dad for a month while you're not paying anything can help get a deposit. The only one affected by not paying is them. Your name isn't on anything, therefore you're not liable for anything. Consult a divorce lawyer. First consultations are usually free. See what your options are if you can walk away from everything. As long as you have a place to stay, the kids can go with you. If he pushes you, call the police. Kick him out of the bedroom. I think do this first, especially given that he's romantic with you. Oh my god, do this first. If this causes him to cheat, then there's more ammo that you can use in a divorce. It would help in the case of alimony. Exactly. Pay no bills that your name isn't on. Separate your phone with your own plan. Put your money into an account that he can't touch. If the home was purchased during the marriage, it may still be considered marital assets. A lawyer can tell you what you're entitled to. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure even if OP isn't on the documents, the fact that they're married might still play into it. Talk to a lawyer, stat. Especially if she's the one paying the mortgage. Yeah, I'd feel like if you're paying the mortgage solely and your name isn't on the documents but you're married, I feel like that can't go anywhere but like really good for you, surely. It's like I've been the one paying for it. Anyway, that's me. I'm not a lawyer. I have no idea. I'm an idiot. You need to start getting your ducks in a row, including documents. That is what that is. Shoving you is assault, and taking liberties with you while you sleep is assault. A more serious form of assault. Not only should he be in jail, he also better start thinking about who's going to pay the mortgage and the bills once you leave. Even if your commute is longer, or you have to get a different job, staying there is not an option. Ask a coworker if they know of a place to stay. What kind of example are you going to set for your children? That it's okay for daddy to treat mommy like that? P.S. Stay off the booze. It's a very sobering story. I won't lie, this is incredibly sobering. What is this? 2 to 3 beers, alcoholism is crazy. I agree. It is crazy. She needs to call the police and have a paper trail on what he did. She also needs to check her credit and make sure there's no unauthorized credit cards. Cops wouldn't do anything unless she already has documentation. Yeah, I'm not a lawyer. I think we need a lawyer in this instance. Thank you guys for not getting off track and talking about cereal like last time. Oh My Fed says you need to take all of the advice that people are giving you. 1. The cars and house aren't in your name. This is a good thing for you. Consult a divorce attorney. I would also like to add a third one. Some of those magic cards are valuable. Just FYI, in case you didn't know. I think in that case, there's just so many cards that you'd have to sift through that you wouldn't know, unless he keeps like a specific stash. And you're like, that's mine in the divorce, thank you very much. I look forward to your future updates when you have left him, and trust me when I say it'll be way easier without him. One less mouth to feed. How old are the kiddies? If you two separate, then hopefully you can get 50-50 custody. If not, he can have the kids on the weekend or something, which either gives you alone time or work time, and then the kids are going to daycare or school, is more opportunity for you to either work or chill out. Make a plan, see a lawyer, squirrel that money away, and once you've set up finances for a car in the first month or two of rent, then buy to the partner who continues to let you and the kids down. You have so much potential, and you're clearly a hard worker. Life will be way easier without him dragging you down. Let's see if that happens in this latest update. Okay. Oh, Jesus. Okay, context warning. Sexual assault. If you don't want to hear about sexual assault, mute the stream. On to the next update, titled, I told him I wanted a divorce, and he's now trying to change. Hi everyone. Please look at my page for the last 2 posts regarding the situation with my soon-to-be ex-husband. I just came here to quickly update the people of Reddit who have been very supportive and gave great advice. I told him that I wanted a divorce. I told him I was done. It obviously didn't go well, and he's trying his usual manipulation tactics of crying and making steps to change. Set up a psychiatrist appointment to switch his medication, has a job interview lined up, etc. It's very hard, and against my nature to not cave now that he's suddenly trying, but I'm staying strong. I'm reminding myself that this has happened before. We separated for 3 months after our son, 4, was born for similar reasons. What do you mean by that? Okay, 3 months after our son was born for similar... Okay, sorry, my brain just did not... I'm gonna go back to my dad's this weekend so he can see his grandkids. But he just got divorced a few months back, so I plan to talk to him about options and what I need to know. I'm scared as hell because I don't know what I'm going to do about car, place to stay, kids, etc., But when I told him, I thought that him trying to have sexual relationships with me while I slept because I couldn't say no was grape, and he continued to do it anyway. That's because it is. That's what that is. You need to report that. Marital relationships like this are still this. You know, it doesn't change the definition just because you're married to this person. Or when he went to a strip club with his friends and expected a pat on the back from me and all of my friends because he didn't get a blow from one of the girls. Wow. Maybe he showed them his Magic the Gathering collection, huh? Or when he started nonchalantly telling people that he shoved me backwards into the couch, or no to the bed or onto the bed mid-argument to my friends like it was normal. Yeah, I've been beating my wife. Isn't that so funny, friends? I'm going to tell you directly that I've been abusing my wife. This is a really funny thing to tell my friends about, yes. These are things that I'm reminding myself to stay strong during. We live in a 3-bedroom home, so I've made him move into the guest room while I get my ducks in a row. That's horrendous. He is horrendous. I don't know how your friends didn't beat the shit out of him when he said this. All of this. This one too. I don't know how they didn't beat the shit out of him when he said this, or you opened up to them about this. I don't know if you've opened up to them about this, actually. This sucks. Congratulations, you were worth it. Don't forget that. You might want to put a lock on your bedroom door. Stay strong. It's good that he's going back to the doctor for himself. He needs to see what life is going to be like and prepare for it. OP says, this is going to sound pathetic, but my bedroom door can't lock and I need a new door altogether. In a fight a couple of years ago, he broke the door down to get in. I have it held together with white duct tape and painted with white outs to make it not obvious about what happens. This has just been so normalized for so long. Hey Kyle, sorry you're sipping that Monster Energy and putting holes in walls. If your partner breaks a door down to get in during a fight, I'm sorry, but that's just not normal. I don't know if no one's told you that yet. Obviously, I hope that's not victim blaming, but like, if you're coming here to ask what is and isn't normal, and, you know, if this is okay, no. Go to the police, hopefully, and hopefully they don't say this is a domestic. What's gang saying? What's gang saying? OP has no support system besides maybe her dad. I hope that she has her dad in this one because she keeps saying that she doesn't have anything. I'm scared as hell because I don't know what I'm going to do about car, place to stay, kids, etc. She says that she has her dad, but if she's saying this, it doesn't sound like she does have her dad. You know, that doesn't sound like her dad is going to help out. If you have Android, why the hell did OP told him she wants a divorce before getting her ducks in a row? She should have at the very least talked with a lawyer. This sounds like someone that's been horribly abused and doesn't know and doesn't have any support system. Australians, it's machismo. 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 Remember, 40% of police are domestic abusers. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A bear wouldn't do this. Absolutely. What else are we seeing? Does that make it Earth Ball or Land of the Ball? Oh no. Oh no, not this again. She left him before, got guilted into staying. That's what that means. Thank you. Okay, the current last update. It doesn't seem like this is over. This is just an ongoing issue. Just a small day update. I don't know how I'm going to get divorced. Hello everyone. I've had a lot of people request updates and I don't have much to share yet. I, 29 female, am leaving my husband who I recently realized is abusive. Please check my profile and look at my last few posts for more info. I talked to my dad briefly today about it, and I have a place that I can go if I need to. We'll be talking more tomorrow for details because we were at a kid's birthday party and we couldn't really talk. But he told me that his divorce cost him $10,000, and I'd be lucky if I can find a lawyer that would work for less than $2,000. And I live paycheck to paycheck, and I have no idea how I can do that. I'm staying strong, I'm not being swayed by his talk, I want this to be done. I just don't know how I can do this, and this is a terrible situation. Note, my dad did not have kids with his ex-wife. Also, they tried for an amicable divorce, but she opted against it. This is just all bad. This is just all terrible. Superior Juror says, I'm really sorry to hear what you're going through this. It's tough to think about the money when you're just trying to get out of a bad situation. Have you looked into legal aid services? They often help people in your situation for free or at low cost. OP says, I hadn't yet. I just talked to Dad today about asking about his recent divorce and was told that the retainer was $5,000 and ended up being $10,000 when everything was said and done. Also, if your name isn't on the car or the house, you should be able to work out something to stop making payments. Any bills that are in your name, you can either transfer to your ex or his mum, or cancel after you speak with the company and let them know what's going on. That should be able to drastically reduce money going out that you can use for the divorce or to get a new car for yourself. Make sure that any bills you stop paying are out of your name yourself. Never trust anyone else on that, and follow up with the company to make sure that you are not responsible for anything moving forward. Most lawyers will give you a free consultation. I would start reaching out to divorce lawyers in your area to meet with as many as possible and try to see what you can find out. Depending on where you are, there may be options for legal or pro bono assistance, especially as you're leaving an abusive situation. Do some Googling. Your local library or women's refuge may have resources available too. I second this. I'd also consider calling the National DV Hotline because they can connect you with resources in your state that may be able to assist you financially or find you resources that are more financially feasible, both legal resources and just helping you get out of your situation. If you guys ever need that or someone to give it to, it's https thehotline.org. is the National DV Hotline, thehotline.org. You may be able to reach out to a women's shelter for legal resources. I'm not sure how it works everywhere, but where I live, our shelter has lawyers on site. They at least can help point you in the right direction. Stay strong, you got this. If you can't tell if you're US or not, but the National Domestic Violence Helpline, 800-799-7233, on call 24/7 with help in English, Spanish, and 200 plus languages through interpreters. Every state has their own helpline, which will provide you more nuanced answers to your questions. There might also be one for your city. Good luck, stay strong, and remember the safety of your children and yourself is worth way more than $10,000. It may seem like a lot now, but your freedom is worth so much more. Absolutely, if that helps out, I hope that helps out for people. This is a very depressing update. She's in a lot more danger than she realizes. That door comment at the end is terrifying. This was before the latest update. I don't think that there is another update on the Best of Redditor Updates subreddit currently. So this is all we got to go on currently. So much of this story reminded me of my ex, the transition to stay-at-home dad who doesn't pull his weight and amps up the abuse. That's what I wasn't able to vocalize this part before when I was rambling. Amping up the abuse. Yeah, I feel like that is what happens in situations like this. It's terrible. The sex while you're asleep, the shoving, the breaking a door down when you've locked yourself in to escape from an argument, blaming mental health, video games while you clean up and look after everything around them. I hope she stays strong and in her decision to leave. It's not sex if one of you is asleep, it's assault. Yes, it is. Is there a reason that people say grape, or in her case use the emoji? Some apps flag it. There's a habit of censoring it everywhere. That's why they say grape on TikTok, because it does get censored. So reading between the lines, a 25-year-old baby trapped a 19-year-old and turned her into an ATM/bangmaid. He's repeatedly assaulted her and put his hands on her in anger as well. Effing hell. And his mummy has been complicit in helping her special little boy do it. Thanks, mummy. That's great. Good person, that. This is the first thing I noticed. This girl needs to get the hell out. The one commenter is right though about not being in her name. She's not liable for anything, so just stop paying for everything. Man, baby, and mummy are probably terrified at losing their financial cushion. She has so much more power in this situation than she realizes. So true. I think that's the catalyst for abusers. They see what, in their minds, is a power imbalance that people like OP aren't looking for. So the abuse is a effed up way of creating a power balance. They never realize that someone like OP is not trying to use them or take advantage of them. Abusers have their own messed up logic and no one can fix them. Abusers have to do that work to the extent that it can be done alone for themselves on their own. Plus he told her that he was trying to teach her that no one's going to give her what she wants. Yeah, he's been teaching her that since she was 19. Not sure how many more lessons he thinks that she needs to learn, but he's going to get more physical each time he has to teach her. I hope the OP and anyone reading realizes that if your partner is trying to teach you things like this, that's a big red flag about the relationship. Thank you. I'm glad you pointed out the age difference, 25-year-old and a 19-year-old. She just became an adult and he's been using and abusing her for years. It's a pretty common feature for relationships that feature exploitation and abuse to have a disturbingly large age gap. Our next post is by user Sunflower971, titled, "Am I the asshole for correcting my friend's stepdaughter to be?" I, 55 male, 55 female, sorry, met my friend's stepdaughter to be 14 yesterday. I introduced myself and told her that it was nice to meet her. I had heard that she was amazing by multiple people, and I was looking forward to meeting her. She ignored me and didn't answer. I thought maybe she didn't hear me, so I repeated. She put in earbuds to emphasize that she's ignoring me, and she walked off. She's deliberately being rude and apparently doesn't care to meet me. Not my future stepdaughter. She doesn't have to like me. That's her choice. I chose not to be a part of the drama and left it be. We all went out to dinner as planned. There was 9 of us total, and I unfortunately ended up seated next to her at the table. Wonderful dinner aside from her ignoring everyone equally. Anyway, I asked her to please pass the tomato sauce, when she was done using it. She ignored me and set it out just of my reach after she used it. Oh my god, what's wrong with you? I asked again, no reaction. So I reached over to her to get it. She started yelling at me for getting in her personal space. I told her that I'd asked her twice and she had ignored me both times. I kind of had it at that point. I then added that next time to simply pass the tomato sauce or don't be upset when someone reaches for it. She went into complete meltdown mode. Now, apparently, I'm the bad guy here, as she's a child. A few others thought that I handled it well, so am I the asshole here, or is it my friend's future stepdaughter a mess? I'm literally posting on Am I the Asshole over a tomato sauce incident. If you were wondering, she is not on the spectrum. I am. Thank you for letting us know. That's great. So she's just picking up on the fact that you're on the spectrum and attacking you. Why I'm asking? That's why I'm asking. Thank you. Edit for clarification. I wasn't clear about the 9 of us that were out to dinner. It was a combination of adults and teenagers. Adults at one table, teens at connecting table. Adults sat first, kids filled in. She was the last seated. What do we think, guys? I may be the arsehole for correcting a teenager that isn't mine. I mean, you can snap at a teenager for treating you horribly, I think. Jesus. She sounds like she has an attitude. Absolutely. Marky is studied at the University of Jean-Claude Van Damme. Real, very real. That's me. Am I the asshole? You're the asshole. Not the asshole. Everyone sucks here. I'll add that one in because someone asked for that 4th option at some point and I thought that was funny. I am Wood Dog says, not the asshole. She's choosing to be disrespectful for sure, and obviously she's used to getting away with it. What did your friends say or do? If the stepdaughter acts like this towards her too, that marriage is doomed before it starts. OP replies, my friend pretty much froze. She wasn't aware of the issue earlier, just heard her meltdown. She adores this girl. I don't want to cause an issue between them. I didn't really put my friend on the spot. OP, it's time to tell the friend about both your earlier encounter and what happened at dinner. Let her decide what to do or not to do about her. OP says, point taken. Also, protect yourself by ensuring that you are not sitting next to her in the future, nor left alone with her. Chances are that she is an emotional teenager and not best pleased at the upcoming nuptials/stepfamily situation, but the fallout should not fall upon you. Better to keep your distance, reputation, and sanity. Good luck, OP. Not just an emotional teenager, but one that is fully aware of how to manipulate people. OP says they heard great things about her, so obviously she can make good impressions on folks. FOLX, that's a new spelling of folks. Whether that's like the Spanish one, right? Latin X. Whether that's genuinely being nice or putting on an act for the folks that will actually benefit her. I don't know why, but that's really rubbing me the wrong way that you spell it like that. Or we're missing facts in totality about this story and other things happened. Or for her to not want to respect Auntie. I get that nobody owes anybody anything, but freaking about passing tomato sauce is way out there on this kind of sus scale. It pretty much is, I agree with that. I would tell the friend's future husband directly that his daughter is being rude, period, and let him handle it. If he realizes that she's doing it to other people, not just his future bride, he may take action. Most spouses would make up excuses that their kids need time to adjust for the step-parent, but not make those same excuses for other people. She's a brat, she's been listening to Charlie XCX. Wait, is it Charlie XCX? I hope it is. I gotta fact check that. It is, thank God. We ended the poll with 77% not the asshole, 14% on what. Thank you guys, I love democracy. It's 2 freaking letters, why not just use them? Maybe bro should be using a non-baby sauce instead. Just leave him alone, Cal. I don't tolerate behavior like that. Ads know when we got the munchies. Sorry for your loss and sorry for your friend's life. I am sorry also. Marky vs Epic Zoe? No. Epic Zoe shouldn't have pressed you're the asshole. Maybe I'm tweaking, but this situation is so little to me that calling either an asshole is far-fetched. Just tell the dad to keep it tucking. I just got here, I'll say somebody's probably the asshole. I think that the girl is the asshole in this situation here, personally. Good 4th option would be needs more info for those missing reasons posts. We don't operate on logic right now. This is live streams. She may be a teenager, but her behavior was deliberately rude, even by teen standards. I agree. To the gallows. It sounds, as you wrote it, like you spoke to her in a reasonable way, and the content of your message to her sounds very factual and fair. 14 is old enough to hear factual feedback about manners and behavior, not the asshole. What is her problem with you? She seems like a brat. Maybe she doesn't like grandmothers. She relishes the drama. Light bulb. You are so right. I literally didn't think of it like that, but you are so right. She went from invisible to being the center of attention. Bingo. Exactly, she was invisible, last to be seated, but I doubt that these are her main worries at the moment. A 14-year-old soon-to-be stepdaughter. For this not to be a minefield would be strange. You're a friend of her soon-to-be stepmother, meeting for the first time. What does it mean to say you had heard that she was amazing? To me, it seems ingratiating and patronizing. I say mild you're the asshole because you seem completely unaware of how this poor child may be feeling. OP replies, oh, I get that it's a minefield now. Just didn't realize that there were live mines that no one knew were there. Re my comment about saying I heard she was amazing, you aren't the first to question it. It wasn't meant in any other way than a statement of fact. I've heard great things about her from her soon-to-be stepsisters. She may have felt invisible, but I don't know why she would. Maybe you're right and I'm clueless. She was at dinner with members of her family and my friend and her teens. Her teens? I tagged along at the friend's invite. Thanks for the inputs. Don't take it personally. It's not 100% personal and don't judge her too harshly. She's probably in a very confused period of her life. OP says, thank you, I don't. As far as judging her harshly, I intend on ignoring her in the future. If she approaches me at a later date, I will be kind. I see a lot of comments that got downvoted. Wasn't by me. A lot of your comments got downvoted. It seems you have a kind heart and perhaps are looking at her through different understanding eyes. I'm on the spectrum, thus I don't mind criticism when I'm wrong, nor do I mind difference of opinion. Why the post asking? Hence, why the post asking? Glad most people think not the asshole, not looking for approval, just that I acted accordingly. I think you did act accordingly. And you could have done the, can you please pass the tomato sauce? Can you please pass the tomato sauce? Like, as loud as you wanted to, but I do think you would have come out as an asshole and people would have just blamed it on you being on the spectrum, being like, sorry, this person doesn't know social manners. I feel like it plays against you in that instance, even though it would be funny. She most definitely is in a confused state right now. Personally, not a fan, but not worth holding a grudge either. Thanks. To a downvoted comment, OP says, I posted as I was asking, not looking for confirmation that I was right. You were definitely correct in that the incident made things difficult for my friend, and I regret that. There's only so much you can do at this point. I don't think what you did was wrong, though. I don't really think her behavior has anything to do with at all with me. Her dad is marrying my friend, and she may not be comfortable with that as she has been acting. Now, if a family friend introduces themselves to you and you ignore them twice, I stand my ground by stating the action is deliberately rude. Especially when she put in earbuds to make a point. She put in earbuds to make a point of it. Dickhead behavior. What's wrong with you? Not saying she's rude. Sorry, that's really harsh to say to a teen, but still, don't do that. At the dinner table, don't put in earbuds. That's so rude. I'm not saying she's rude. I'm saying she's rude. What the hell? The action is deliberate and it is rude. I didn't harp on it or correct her. I hadn't mentioned it to anyone other than here. What I did was take the tomato sauce from the table after she used it. If someone had reached over to me to get the bottle, wouldn't have bothered me at all. It's kind of normal in my circle. Guys, is it weird to have someone reach over to grab the bottle of ketchup? Is that weird? Yeah, I could have asked someone seated on the other side of her to pass it. It didn't seem logical, simple as that. Okay, this is going on. What was the meltdown about? Her space was violated. I didn't reach to get the ketchup, but I did not touch her. I did reach to get the ketchup. The more comments I read, the more I'm realizing the meltdown definitely wasn't about ketchup. I truly hope the family works everything out. A lot of the behind the scenes coming out. It was never about the Iranian yogurt, okay? It was never about the Iranian yogurt. And now, on to the updates. Thank you for your comments. It puts a lot of different perspective on things. I debated what to say to my friend and her fiancé about what happened, posting this here and laying this to rest. A few things for clarification. I'm a grandmother, there was no more to the story on my end, a lot more on hers. I walked into an unknown minefield. My friend called me a few ago to apologize. There was a huge blow up that night when they got back home. I had driven separately to the restaurant. My friend's fiancé handled the situation. He asked her to explain what happened in her own words. Apparently he had overheard me ask for the ketchup before she exploded. She explained that I'm a boomer witch. What? That's so mean. She hates that she will have to share a bedroom. She hates her dad is getting remarried. She hates the dress that she has to wear at the wedding. She hates that everyone except her loves her stepmother-to-be. She hates her stepsisters are prettier. She hates everything. Her dad explained that he loves her, but he also loves my friend, and that the wedding is happening. And I hate that I love you so much. These are 10 things I hate about you. My friend ended with that. No clue what their next move is, but I'm out of it. Not my place. I don't know if she's been showing signs prior that no one noticed. I feel for her. I do. I feel for all of them. My friend and her daughters are like family to me. Her fiancé is a good man too. I had been told that the stepdaughter really was a great kid. That's why I'm wondering if this was her first outburst. I truly hope her stepsisters didn't hear some bad things that she had to say about them. I don't care what she thinks about me. I do care that they all have a lot to deal with before October. I'll avoid her in the future. If she needs to have a villain in her story to cope, that's fine, but damn, just pass the tomato sauce. Boomer witch, over and out. You're just collateral damage. I wouldn't take it personally. Yeah, I'm obviously not saying what she did was right, but she's also only 15, and hopefully she learns as she matures. Being a 15-year-old girl is hard enough without a parent remarrying and having to share room with stepsisters you think are prettier. Looks like unfortunately knives out for her, and OP just got sliced in the interim. Yeah, I totally sympathize with her situation. I'm not sure how to address the behavior, but she needs some help and compassion. Your friend's fiancé might be a good partner, but not a good that. Okay? His daughter is miserable. Oh, not a good dad. He's a good partner, but not a good dad. His daughter is miserable, but the wedding is still on. I wish her all the best for the stepdaughter. Your friend and his partner are forcing a lifestyle onto her, and she is suffering because of them. If I were your friend, there would be no possible love to put my kids in that same house with the stepdaughter to protect both sides. This is very reminiscent of that last live stream, huh? This is a mixed, blended family that's just not going well. I think I want to take that advice of just like, you know, if you're going to be with someone, live separately, I guess. I don't even know if that's possible. People do want to get in relationships. That person saying that they're going to wait until their kid is 18 and can move out before pursuing romantic relationships, I'm seeing why they said that. I feel like that was a good one, although it's not admissible to everyone. It's not relevant to everyone. You can have a partner if you'd like, but be prepared for situations like this to happen. Yep, delay that wedding, get into family and individual therapy for a bit, see how it works out. Reevaluate in a year about moving in together and getting married. It sucks to put your kids before your love life, but it's what you have to do. When I was single and dating, my rule was, you don't meet my kids for a year, at least, maybe longer. Since they were young, that meant not coming to my place. Lots of drama over that, but that was my rule. During that time, my kids are always my priority. Once I'm certain I want more, it's a very slow introduction, like meet me at the park and we'll walk to get ice cream after. Couple of weeks later, we'll do it again. Then to dinner gets introduced, then some family time, and then maybe down the road a couple of years, overnights. All the while, we are evaluating the relationship between the kids. If the kids don't like you, we can go back to just dating each other, but it likely means that we are done. We just call it good and we move on. Yes, I broke up with people who couldn't handle those rules. I usually set them out very early on. Like on the first date, we were likely to have sex, gave myself plenty of blue balls and lonely nights. Ended up with a woman who already had a loving mother-like relationship with my kids. Honestly, if my kids are involved, I suggest keeping to casual dating and friends with benefits. Ton of good boundaries here. You must be an amazing dad. I'm average on a good day. I was a single, widowed dad who didn't want his kids to suffer any more than they would have to. I lucked out. My best friend / college ex / wife's best friend who set us up after we broke up, somehow we had both grown up and out of what made us a bad couple in college and fell back in life. Kids already called her a mother type name and had that kind of relationship. But before we realized that we were good for each other, I had a lot of shitty relationships that couldn't handle the boundaries. Sadly, the only good one I had to end because the age difference was too much. I was going to hold her back, also the only one that my now wife actually liked. I'm genuinely curious and a little confused at the best friend, college ex, wife's best friend, and who they set you up with. Can you explain? I'm reading it as, he and his wife shared a best friend, who was also his college ex, that set them up, and he ultimately ended up with her. But I don't know. It's super confusing. OP says, correct. The thing I know is a lot of widowers and widows. They are truly some amazing people out there. Many who had their shit together far better than I did. I think we both hear about the bad stories and forget that the average person is usually better than that. I think we all deal with our children in different ways. Some remain alone until the children are adults. I know one guy who decided after a few bad relationships he would never introduce his kids to anyone and just hired escorts to fulfill his needs for physical touch and closeness. Most would call him a monster, but I have mad respect for him. He hated not having real intimacy, but a night or two at a hotel each month while his kids stay at the grandparents' was just enough to get by. My favorite were a wonderful couple who met at our support group. Grief effing is a thing. And while I did that once, it was grief sex is a thing. And while I did that once, it was pretty common to understand a lot of people had had sex with each other. But the couple hooked up and then hooked up again. They actually fell in love eventually. They needed each other. But they knew that blending the families was going to cause trouble. The children didn't care for their significant other on either side. Grief among older children and rejecting a replacement is basically the norm. They tried working it out in therapy, but nothing seemed to help. So they got married quietly and live in their old houses separately. They have one date night a week and one overnight a week at a neutral location. For a long time, it was their mother-in-law's apartment someone in the group had. Eventually, they bought a bungalow for the night with the plan that being their empty nest. He's a contractor, so he's always over at her place fixing things while the kids are at school, even when she's not there. His last went off to college last year, and he moved into the little bungalow, and she will in a couple of years once her last is off. The adult children have become more accepting over the years, and a couple of them have become friendly as they went to the same school. They realized that blending teenagers after loss was a stupid idea. Those people, they are the amazing ones. When we lived in the area, we would go on double dates, and even after 6 years of being married like that, I couldn't think of a more in-love couple. Because the distance, not that far, but distance still, they learned to communicate better than any couple that I know of. We were on a double date once, and she said something that was kind of triggering to him. He turned to her and said something about how what she said hurt him. She apologized, corrected what she did, and no more was said. I don't even remember what was said. It was handled so well. The amazing ones are everywhere. They're usually just hiding. I'm average. I grieved too hard and too long. My kids definitely suffered. I dated women that I didn't love because it was easier to hold the boundaries. I dated women that I should have dumped because they did give two shits about a relationship, so the boundaries weren't an issue. I'm not perfect. Far from it. Average. I will accept average. Average is great. I hope your kids will one day know how lucky they were to have you steer them through their loss. Average dad, my hat is off to you. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. Mr. Utah Cyan, thank you. That was a beautiful story. Genuinely, I liked that so much. And you guys are talking about You guys are talking about food. I expect nothing less.